Obviously worthy opponent in Tennessee. 51-10 L. Quicksand loss is what I'm calling it. You ever watch the movie The Replacements?
Oh, yes.
Where Shane Falco talks about quicksand?
Mm-hmm.
You find yourself in a situation where you're behind, and the more you struggle, the more you try to drag yourself out of it, the deeper it makes you go. That's what it felt like for me for NC State. The more you struggle, the further they sank. Second quarter. I'm going to take you through like I'm sure it feels like, State fans, that from the opening kick it was just one big painful blur, but into the second quarter, 7-0. Defense forces an interception. You get a field goal off the drive, 7-3. It's a good game. Tennessee kicks a field goal up 10-3. All right, cool. Second quarter, one-score game. Offense starts slow. You're thinking this is a drive that if they go down and score, tie ball game, everything's moving. Now all of a sudden it's a slugfest, right? It's two equal opponents. Pick six. That's the moment. Dennis, we were talking about it off air. You said the pick six changed everything.
Oh, it did.
Just a bad decision to try to flip it over an edge rusher on a short little little dump off to Justin Jolie, your tight end. McCall tries to put it's almost like a full jump shot from 2 feet away from the basket, right? Just a little up and down. It sails on him, goes over the edge rusher, over Justin Jolie, into the defender's hand, 80-something yards the other way, touchdown, and that was it. From that point forward, the harder NC State tried to get back into the game, the further they fell. Second half offensive possessions. These are every single offensive possession for NC State in the second half. Fumble, turnover on downs, 3 and out.
It's not good.
They did score on defense, which masked some of it. But like the 2 turnover on downs shows they were all in, right? They were still fighting and scrapping and clawing, and it just set them further back each time. It was a game where it seemed like NC State and Grayson McCall, their quarterback, were looking for the 16-point play. They were looking for the 25-point play to get it all back in one. And it just, once they got down 17-3, it's impossible, right? You got the cliches are the cliches for a reason. One play at a time, one drive at a time, one score at a time. And nothing looked like that was happening for NC State. Felt like the Wolfpack was trying to get it all back in one go, right? The baseball analogy, trying to hit 2 grand slams with one swing. It just can't happen. And they didn't have, and I think part of this is because there's so many new faces. There's so many, right? New wide receiver, new tight end, new running back, new offensive line. They didn't have that like, hey, let's take a breath, let's bind together, let's lock arms, and let's regroup. There was no regrouping. I thought at halftime it was like, ooh, that kind of got away from them a little bit there at the end. They need a stern talking to and a little bit of a let's go back to square one came out of the second half, and it was not that. Then all of a sudden, like just catching the snap became an issue. All of a sudden, just traditional ball handling, meaning handoffs and everything, didn't look as sturdy as they should. And the way that game went, not just the final score, although losing by 41 will do it. I actually think it could have been worse. You have to start worrying about the confidence of your team. You have to start worrying about fractures within the team. This is where coaches make their money. After that game, getting everybody to stick together is not easy. And what did we say this Tennessee game was going to do? It was going to frame how we thought of the Western Carolina game. If it came out and it was an ugly game for NC State, then all of a sudden all those worries that everybody brought up about Western Carolina, you didn't bully them at the line of scrimmage, you didn't complete enough deep balls, all of those things were going to become real. If you played well against Tennessee, you were going to call Western Carolina a great warm-up. Oh, they needed to work those kinks out. Oh, thank goodness they got it all out of their system. Guess what? It wasn't the perfect warm-up. It didn't have you extra ready for week 2. It didn't allow you to get all the bad plays out of your system. And now you have to answer those questions for real. I still believe in the talent of the wide receivers. Why are they not making more big plays? Casey Concepcion is still Casey Concepcion. Why wasn't he able to take over that game in the way we've seen in the past?
Started off strong early.
He did. Yes.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
There was a crossing route that I absolutely loved. It was a great play call. Again, they got him out of the backfield. It was a great play call. Then it went quiet. Jordan Waters not getting the tough yards. Something we saw early in the Western Carolina game. Then he got the tough yards at the end of the Western Carolina game. And again, we were going to decide later whether the which one was real, right? The first 3 quarters against Western Carolina or the last quarter against Western Carolina. Against Tennessee, it looked like the first 3 quarters. Hollywood Smothers, the backup running back, transfer from Oklahoma, he looked like he got a little juice. For everything NC State, all of the positives they had, here's the real kicker. And I'm not talking about, like, actual kicking. I'm saying, like, here's the real end of the sentence. You have to fix it all because your goals are still there. Right? If you go make an ACC championship game, you win out from here, like all of that, nothing is mathematically eliminated the way it may have been in years past when the college football playoff was shorter, when there were divisions. Like, nothing is written off. But there are some big old to-do lists written in highlighter, underlined, bold, italicized, size 100 font that you really have to fix. Your quarterback has to play less skittish, more confident. Your interior offensive line has to be able to get something going in the run game. Your defense has to step up and I hate to say this because no one person is that important. Your defense has to get used to playing without Peyton Wilson. There are 2 or 3 plays early in that game. The one that's like I can see in my mind's eye if I close my eyes right now is Nico Iamaleava stepping up and running for a first down to the right. Sean Brown was there in the open field and just couldn't quite get him on the ground this side of the first down marker. And I watched it and I went, oh, Peyton Wilson makes that play. Which is unfair for Sean Brown. That's like watching a garage band and going like, oh, Whitney Houston would have hit that note. Like it's not fair. But you got to get used to it and you got to get him on the ground anyway. Used to be Peyton Wilson. Now it's gang tackling. It's something else. 51-10. It's not going to get it done. Needless to say. And again, you'll have your chance to sound off. We have Monday Sound Off opening the phone lines at 3:30 today, so get ready. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Want to tell you about what's going on down there at Bailey's Fine Jewelry in their Village District location in Raleigh. How about this? You want tradition? Blancpain, founded in 1735. It is the oldest surviving watchmaking brand, and obviously Swiss watchmaking. It kind of goes hand in hand. If you're looking for heritage, if you're looking for tradition, if you're looking for a classy look on your wrist, Blancpain has a bunch of options. Many of you, if you are a watch fan, will know about their 50 Fathoms, which was introduced in 1953, one of the very first modern dive watches. It is a benchmark, an icon when it comes to diving timepieces, and it's all available in the main showroom at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location in Raleigh. When you're down there, check out Blancpain. It is something that you want to see. You want to put it on your wrist. You want to feel what it's like to have centuries of watchmaking on your wrist. Again, Blancpain at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location in Raleigh. Let them know when you're there. You heard about it right here on The Drive on 99.9 The Fan. NC State fans, if misery loves company, you suffered a tough loss on Saturday, and then every Panthers fan joined you in that company on Sunday. What role did Bryce Young play in the Panthers' loss to the New Orleans Saints? It's coming up next. Stick around.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're dishing up a clash of conferences.
Hot dog, man.
It's the New York Jets and San Francisco.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7:30.
Get ready.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
Here we go.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending and Cary. Date the rate, marry the house. A phrase often used by realtors to describe the difference between keeping your new forever home as opposed to your mortgage rate, which you'll only keep until something better comes along, kind of like speed dating. A recent study by the Wall Street Journal further supports this notion by finding the average life of a loan to be less than 4 years. Their suggestion? Find a no-fee loan, which is exactly what Miller Lending has been telling you since 1996. With no closing costs of any kind, you can simply close on today's rates and refinance each time something better comes along. So while builders promote buy-downs with over $10,000 in closing costs, or lenders advertise crazy low rates with even more, Miller Lending continues to be the leader in the no-cost mortgage. So before you throw away thousands of needless fees, pick up the phone and call your local neighborhood lender, Miller Lending and Cary, 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146.
Dauntless Transmissions in Raleigh is hiring. If you're an ASE certified automotive technician looking to make good money, have a guaranteed 40-hour work week, and get paid every Friday, check out this opportunity. Dauntless Transmissions is a small family-owned shop with a quality-first attitude in need of technicians with experience doing minor engine work. Happy to train the right candidate further on transmissions. If you're ready to be appreciated and duly compensated for your automotive abilities, call or apply now at dauntlesstransmissions.com.
What a great NFL weekend that was, and you have another chance to start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 wager on tonight's game. How about a Bryce Hall anytime touchdown, which is plus 130, Christian McCaffrey over 75.5 rushing yards, and Aaron Rodgers over 235.5 passing yards. There you go with a single game parlay. Just visit FanDuel.com/Adam Gold to make every moment more this season. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like Bear Dynasty interior paint, their most durable one-coat hide paint ever. From a team color statement wall to a fan cave complete with a mural honoring Nick Saban's 17-year dynasty.
Hey, I like that idea.
Nothing beats Bear Dynasty interior paint. It's everything you need all in one can.
Defend your game time with Bear and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Valid only when tinted to colors from the Bear Dynasty and Marquee Interior One Coat Hide Color Collection.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Three-receiver set, twins to the right, Saints working right to left. Carr takes the snap, in the pocket, launches deep downfield. He wants Shaheed, makes the catch in stride. 10-5, touchdown New Orleans. 59 yards for the score. Carr to Shaheed.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We actually collapsed the pocket, and Derek Carr got hit. Got to give him credit. He stood in the pocket, and he made a nice throw. But that's certainly not the way we kind of wanted to start the season.
That is the very first series of the very first game for the Carolina Panthers. They were on defense, and it was a long touchdown from Derek Carr to Rashid Shaheed. And if any of you mumbled under your breath, can't get worse than this, joke's on you. Because Bryce Young on the very first play of their first offensive possession threw an interception.
Yeah.
Listen. Let's talk Bryce Young, okay? Now, let me be clear. This game, a lot going wrong with it. Bryce Young was not the only problem, but you do kind of have to start at the tip of the spear, the head of the snake, your quarterback. Bryce Young has a lot of reasons for why his career hasn't gone the way that he and many thought it would be when he hit the NFL. Obviously, everybody now, if you ask them, 100% knew that Bryce Young was not going to be great well before the draft. Everybody knew that C.J. Stroud should have been taken over Bryce Young. If you ask them now, if you asked them then, not nearly as unanimous, okay? And at worst, you had Bryce as like the second best player in the draft. So nobody was expecting these kinds of struggles. There are a boatload of reasons why. Obviously, ownership. Obviously, coaching. Obviously, supporting staff. Yesterday, I think more than any other game Bryce Young has played, has showed that he also has to take care of himself. And I'm not saying like protect himself. I'm saying there are certain things a quarterback has to do to make it look like you're a good quarterback in a bad offense rather than just along with the rest of everybody. The first pass, the interception, right, started the season off rough. If you have a wide receiver and they're running a route, you have to get him the ball in a place he can catch it. That's it. If you have a clean enough pocket, a clean enough passing lane, and there's a wide receiver there, you have to throw at least a semi-accurate ball. Deontay Johnson maybe didn't have enough separation on the route, and maybe it would have been broken up when you threw it to him. I'm not saying it would have been a completion with a good ball. Jatavian Sanders may have been getting driven back into your lap a little bit because he was asked to make a very difficult block. Maybe that was the case. The play call may not have been perfect. We can do that all day. But the quarterback's job is once you decide to throw it accurately. Or at least semi-accurately.
Give your guy a chance.
Deontay Johnson was the right fielder in a baseball game when off the crack of the bat, he doesn't even turn around to go chase it, right? He's just like, that's a home run.
Yeah, that's over my head.
I'm not even going to jump for this one. I'm not going to go run back to the wall. I'm not going to touch the warning track. Deontay Johnson just watched it sail over his head, and it was intercepted. The only reason that ball was intercepted was because it was a blatant overthrow. And there were multiple of those plays throughout the game. Again, was it all his fault? No. Was it Bryce Young's fault that the running game couldn't get going? No. Was it Bryce Young's fault that Rashid Shaheed was open down the middle on that opening drive? No. But if you just judge Bryce Young on the stuff that Bryce Young could control, yesterday was as rough as he's looked as a professional, and it darn sure was more rough than anything he put on the film at Alabama or high school. So maybe the roughest he's looked his entire career.
Oh, easily. Easily.
So I said going into the season, I'm treating this year like Bryce Young's rookie year, right? I maybe generously, but I decided last year, wash, right? The situation held him back in a way that it is unfair to judge. This year, rookie year, let's start fresh. First test, it's failure. He failed the first test. Again, that doesn't mean he's failing the class. It doesn't mean the whole year is a waste. Doesn't mean I'm benching him. Darn sure not doing that yet. Although I can see and hear all of the fans that are interested in doing just that. I'm not benching him. I'm not taking the keys to the car away. I am, however, acknowledging what he did independently of everything around him in that game was not good enough to be an NFL starting quarterback.
Cody in our YouTube live chat asks, if Bryce Young doesn't show progress, at what point do you cut? At what point do the Panthers cut their losses on the investment in him and move the team forward with Andy Dalton?
Well, this is the compliment and the insult of Bryce Young. If Bryce Young is that bad, then that makes me want to start him all 17 games even more. Because,
that's a fair point.
Because then it becomes about draft pick. If Andy Dalton can salvage 5, 6, 7 wins, then you're just going into next year with a worse draft pick and still no quarterback. Which, by the way, it would be the ultimate Panthers thing. I don't see a quarterback I would love to draft super high in this one. So in this upcoming draft. So it would be the most Panthers thing to end up with the first or second pick again. But that's too far. We're getting too far. We're getting too far. Bryce Young, week 1, failure. Dave Canales, week 1, failure. right? You're the coach. You're responsible for what you put out on the field. You got smoked. Those two guys need to have a meeting of the minds and come back with something significantly better in week 2. Dave Canales in the postgame was asked if Bryce Young did anything well. This was his answer.
The pre-snap operation, that was kind of my biggest concern, and I thought we did a really good job. We had one delay a game. I think we were pretty close and up against the clock there a few times, but I think from that standpoint, gives us a chance with a good starting point to be able to have success in our plays.
That's not confidence-inducing. Well, the quarterback, once the ball was snapped, I don't have much, but when he was just standing in the backfield kind of communicating, I really liked what he did.
Hey, he relayed the play really well. Let's go.
Yeah, he didn't.
Let's go.
Most of the time we were in the right play. Canales today, that was post-game. Canales today spoke of some of the missed opportunities Bryce had on Sunday.
I would say from a footwork standpoint, I thought it was a solid day. As we went through the grades, looking at his footwork and the discipline of it, it was there. I think he missed a couple of throws. I think that he's learning some of his guys, and we've gotten all these reps and we got to keep accumulating those reps, but what I saw from him was just kind of like, missing a few of his opportunities that he had there. And I also have to give the Saints credit for covering us really well. And they made it hard, and they forced accurate throws. And that's something that we have to make sure we cash in on when we have those opportunities.
He's learning his guys. Don't you wish that there were like 3 games before the season that didn't count, right? Just almost, I don't know, preseason games where you could play your quarterback with his new wide receivers and maybe have him learn those. So then in the regular season, when the games do count, he's not learning them and off target and missing throws and putting the ball gift wrapped into the defender's hands for interceptions. That's a tough one for Dave Canales to vocalize. Well, he's still getting to know his guys. That's kind of what your job was all preseason, and you chose to protect him and preserve him. I would love to know what you were protecting and preserving from the Carolina Panthers. Like, if we would have played him in the second preseason game, goodness gracious, we might have lost by a lot in week 1.
He was asked about that not only yesterday but today, and he said everything's on the table in terms of evaluation, in terms of like looking through all that kind of stuff. It's like everything's on the table.
This isn't 2020 hindsight, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
This was 2024. Everyone else was saying it all preseason.
Yep.
Everything's up for evaluation. What the? Do it right the first time, and you don't have to reevaluate it the second time. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are going to open up the phone lines. We're calling it Monday Sound Off. If you want to sound off on State, on Carolina, on the UNC quarterback situation, on Duke's overtime win, get ready to have your dialing fingers ready. I'll give you the number right after we hear from Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. I'm sure we all watching football games this weekend, how quickly things can get out of control, how quickly things around you can just get kind of disastrous. And as a motorcycle rider, I always have to keep that in mind, is that things are out of my control, and you never know, disaster might be right around the corner, but you can take preventative measures to make sure you can mitigate those disasters, to make sure you put yourself in the best position to get through safely. And that's something I actually learned when I took a motorcycle safety riding course actually just earlier this year. And it was something that they emphasize every single time. Safety, safety, safety first. Unfortunately, accidents do happen, and this is where Law Tigers comes in. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Insurance companies want to pay the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They know what your bike is worth. They know what your gear is worth. They know what you're going through after an accident. With Law Tigers, your case evaluation is always free, and they do not get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We want to hear from you. Sound off on the phone lines. Heister Automotive Group hotline opening right now. 919-860-5326. Your thoughts on Bryce, your thoughts on Dave Canales, your thoughts on the Tennessee State game. All of them. 919-860-5326. We invite you to the show coming up next.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
I'm Kamala Harris. Here's a few things I believe. Middle-class families, like the one I grew up in, they want common sense solutions. You want lower prices and lower taxes. I believe you want to just not get by, but you want to get ahead. We must create an opportunity economy where everyone has a chance to get a car loan, buy a home, start a business. And I believe we can make that happen.
Kamala Harris's plan? Bring down costs by cracking down on corporate price gougers. Make homeownership more affordable for families. A middle-class tax cut for 100 million Americans. And make sure billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share so you can keep more of the money you've earned.
And instead of being focused on the politics of the past, we need to be thinking about the future and how we make it better for families like yours. I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
Veterans, did you know VA mortgage rates have plummeted and you can now access up to 100% of your home's equity and turn that into cash right now? Hey, it's Roger Moore, President and CEO of Loan Pronto, announcing our VA Equity Advantage program. This VA offer can get you $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 cash out with no junk fees and no hassle, with APRs in the 5s. You can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, and get one easy-to-manage payment. Veterans we help save on average $850 per month. And listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6.25%, we can do a streamlined refinance with no income verification and no appraisal, saving you hundreds a month. At Loan Pronto, we respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now and ask about our special VA Equity Advantage program. 919-381-1760. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Train heating and cooling systems are engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is a reaction Monday. It is a Monday after week 1 in the NFL. It is Monday after week 2 in college football. So we thought we'd open up the phone lines. We're calling it Monday Sound Off. This is my one PSA. We have callers on the line. We're gonna start bringing them on. We're gonna start having the conversations that need to be had. I want to do this more often, but I'm trusting you, right? So we got to keep it radio friendly. We got to keep the language. I know some teams locally didn't have the best weekends. Exactly. Keep them as radio friendly as possible. We will have obviously the dump button ready, but if you'd say something you can't say, it's pretty much going to do it for our conversations with you. So we'll start with Brian in Durham. By the way, the Heister Automotive Group hotline is open, 919-860-5326. Brian in Durham, you have a Panthers take here I see in our system. So welcome to the show and have at it.
Hey guys, love the show. It's been doing awesome, man. I really appreciate listening to y'all in the afternoons. But yeah, you were talking about why Canales was protecting Bryce Young during the preseason. But is it not fair to speculate that it wasn't Canales and it's just Tepper still meddling in the background?
You're saying that the reason they didn't play him in preseason is because David Tepper didn't want him to play in the preseason?
Yeah. Well, Tepper knows, and he didn't want him to get hurt and had higher expectations. And he's really the one that wanted to hold the starters back to have a better start to the season, not really thinking it through.
Well, what I will give you, I think Tepper is actually more involved and too involved in the bigger decisions. I want to say the day-to-day, I doubt he has too many opinions in any direction. But what I will give you is everything starts at the top, right? If a game is that bad week 1 after last season being that bad, David Tepper has to answer a whole bunch of questions there.
Yes.
I don't know if he's into like who's playing in the preseason. But I do appreciate the call, Brian, and thank you for the kind words as well. Call back in anytime. The David Tepper of it all, I saw this on Twitter, and I thought it was a really good way to put it, that if a play is bad, you look at the players. If a couple plays are bad, you look at the coordinator. If a game is bad, you look at the head coach. If a couple games are bad, you look at the GM. And if a couple seasons are bad, you look at the owner. There probably is something serious about that, something honest about that. So with this now being the second season, if it looks as bad as it does week 1, David Tepper's going to have to reevaluate. If everything's up for reevaluation, David Tepper's going to look at himself. Tom and Fuquay, you're up next on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Again, Panthers take, so go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you earlier saying that everybody knows they should have drafted Stroud, but I don't think everybody does know, man. I've been hearing you make excuses for Bryce over and over again, and this guy's terrible, man. And I'm sick of hearing the receivers getting thrown under the bus. You know, Nico Collins had 400 yards receiving the year before Stroud got there. Old man Robert Woods is not better than old man Adam Thielen. Pierce at running back, it wasn't some superstar team that he walked into. Bryce is just that bad, man. He's been overrated since college, and it's time for him to put him on the bench, go with whoever they got, either Plummer or Dalton, and get ready to pick Beck or Cam Ward in the draft next year, because they messed this up bad. And this is one they're never going to hear the end of, because Ryan Leaf was drafted behind Peyton Manning, not in front. He's noticed the biggest bust ever. Now you have a guy where they're constantly, Stroud's going to go to 10, 15 Pro Bowls. And 20 years from now, they're going to be laughing at the Panthers saying they're the idiot team that took Bryce Young over Stroud. And I'm ready to move on from this clown.
I appreciate the call. I'll respond to a whole bunch of that, but I feel like you got that off your chest. I don't think there's anyone out there still saying that Stroud shouldn't have been the pick number 1 overall. There might be people that are unnecessarily defensive about Bryce, still thinking he has a chance to be good. If you watch C.J. Stroud, and week 1 was no different. If you watch C.J. Stroud and don't think he should have been the number 1 overall pick, then we're just going to have to. That's one of those arguments where it's like, oh, you're still there. Okay, we're just going to have to agree to disagree and move on from this one. We disagree on some fundamentals. C.J. Stroud should have been the pick. That's not to say that, because C.J. Stroud should have been number 1, that Bryce couldn't have been good. But it is C.J. Stroud is the pick. But what I will say, and part of the reason why, at times I was an apologist for Bryce last year, is C.J. Stroud, yeah, sure. Maybe Nico Collins wasn't great before C.J. Stroud showed up, and Tank Dell was another rookie. They did get the head coaching hire correct. And Bobby Slowick, who's their offensive coordinator in Houston, looks like a great offensive mind. Carolina not only had the subpar supporting cast, they also missed with pretty much every other decision going into last year. So it's not exactly apples to apples, but if it were apples to apples, I'd be pretty confident C.J. Stroud would come out the better apple, if that makes any sense. Trey calling us from Florida. Next up on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. You can call in as well, 919-860-5326. Trey called all the way from Florida to talk Panthers, so I know it's a good one. Trey, what do you have for us?
The game yesterday, that really got me all upset and all mad because the first drive that the Panthers had, Bryce immediately threw an interception, and that was just a stupid read on his end. He thought whoever was open, I can't remember who was.
It was Deontay Johnson on a crosser, overthrew him, and it was intercepted.
Yeah, but that, and then we're talking about last year's draft. I feel like if we switched the two, like C.J. Stroud coming in last year to the Panthers, and then Bryce Young coming in to Houston last year, I feel like it would have been the same outcome.
You think C.J. Stroud, if he went to the Panthers, would be the one people are calling a bust, and Bryce Young would be the rookie of the year contender, all that, if he went to Houston?
Yeah, because look at their offensive coordinator. Look at, like, I'm speaking from last year's point of view. Look at their offensive coordinator, and then look at our offensive coordinator. Look at their
Trey, I like the point.
Coaching roster, and then look at our coaching roster.
I like the point.
And then I
appreciate the call. Call back in any time. What I will say is I don't, having seen what we've seen from C.J. Stroud, and I don't want to make this whole show about Stroud versus Bryce Young, because if you watched the two games, if you watched the Texans and Carolina this past weekend, like I said, if we're still debating that, we're further back in the conversation than I want to be. C.J. Stroud, I don't know if he's as successful as he is in Houston and Carolina. I do think with his talent and his ability to process, he'd be good eventually wherever he ends up. Alex in New York, we're really spread out all over the country, wants to transition from Panthers to NC State. There's an NC State point about Dave Doran Alex wants to bring up. So on a Monday sound off, you can sound off about whatever you want. Alex, what do you have to say about Doran and the Wolfpack?
Yeah, look, I just love a good Ponzi scheme. And
wait. You said you love a good Ponzi scheme?
Yeah.
All right, explain that one to me.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you look at Dave Doran, it's year 11, right? He coaches in the ACC, the worst conference, I would say, over that course in power football. He has a losing percentage in ACC play, 44 and 46, but he stacks the schedule with usually like 3 cupcakes per year. So all he's really got to do is win 4 times. He gets the 3 cupcake wins, and all of a sudden you're at 7 or 8 wins, and people are like, oh, this is a good football coach. But they lose every single time they play a team with a pulse. And they do it with an offensive aesthetic that I would say makes fans, depressed, borderline self-harm. So with the talent he's had over that span, the amount of draft picks, you could argue he is the worst football coach in the country. Good player developer, sure, maybe a decent recruiter. Football coach, terrible. The fan base deserves better than this.
I appreciate the call. The Ponzi scheme analogy, I don't know if it landed, but I
love the pull on that one.
Yeah, it's what I'll give Dave Doran is there's only one coach in the history of NC State football that has won double-digit games. Right? It's not like he took over a program that was winning 11 and going to BCS bowls every year. This is a team that I scrolled back all the way into the 1920s. It hasn't been there. And in his tenure, they have won the 9, 9, 8, 8, 9, 9, 8, 8. Like they've done that throughout. So maybe there's some scheduling going on there, but there's a lot of teams that play easy non-conference schedules. With that being said, you need signature wins. In college football, you need signature wins. And I actually think Dave Doeren is wildly aware of that, which is why every time they beat North Carolina, he's like soundbite, soundbite, soundbite right after the game, trying to capitalize and build buzz off those big games. Like a win over Tennessee or a win on the road against an SEC big school, like whatever those are, a program needs those. And he has not produced enough of those, which does make it very, very difficult to, quite frankly, continue to build and fundraise and everything else.
By the way, I know a couple people are trying to call in, but because our lines are full, that's why we're getting a busy signal. I know we'll get into some more Panthers and stuff here in a sec. QT said real fast, he's been trying to call in. He was a Bryce supporter up until yesterday.
I do think that, like, and that goes for the Panthers as a whole, where it's like, after last year, this offseason, you're thinking fresh start. You're thinking, I'm going to give him another chance. When you got like the worst parts of last year to start this year, I'm done. Like, I waited this long. Like, I think that's going to be a common refrain from the fan base. Let's get to Dave in Smithfield on the line. Another NC State point to make. David, thank you for calling in. What do you have for us?
Well, and all talent February, I sent you a tweet literally apologizing because I've been so disappointed in the team.
You know what, David? It's really hard. David, it's really hard to hear you. Try to get to a better connection, and we'll come back to you if it works out there. The only word I made out there is apologize, which, you know, when you're talking NC State, I kind of get.
Dave did tell me before he got on that he was disappointed in State, but the only thing that made the day better was his son got married yesterday.
Oh.
So it kind of made up for the terrible Saturday night.
Well, congratulations, David, and I think State fans around are happy at least somebody had a solid experience over the weekend. We'll go next on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326, to Lucas in Forest City. Has a Bryce question to ask. So, Lucas, what do you have to throw out at us about Bryce Young?
Hey, guys, what's up?
What's going on, my man? What do you got?
So, big Panthers fan, and I've been watching this kid play ball, man. We gave an arm and a leg for him, man, and I'm curious, when are we going to see this kid play ball, man? Is he a bust?
Whew. Lucas, thank you. I'll answer the question. Is he a bust? Obviously, the evidence says leaning that way, right? When you go this long without having success, whether you blame the situation, whether you blame the player, whether you missed, whatever it is, leaning towards not living up to everything you gave up for him. What I'll also say is there's no reason not to continue to give him a chance to disprove that. He's going to be starting week 2. He's going to be starting week 3. So, you know, the only thing you can do is everything you can do, right? The only thing that this team can do is everything they possibly can to help Bryce figure out what's holding him back, because it's super obvious right now that whether it's himself, whether it's his play, whether it's his decision-making, his physical abilities, whether it's his team, the coach, something is holding him back in a big way from being successful because it's not there.
Exactly, man. I'm ready to see my boys win, man. I'm tired of losing. Keep pounding, y'all.
Love it. Thank you very much, Lucas. And I mean, you can win with a quarterback, meaning win some games with a quarterback that isn't playing great. We see it happen every single year. So there's a lot of ducks you need to get into a row up there in Charlotte. Bruce and Carey, I think I have a little line here on what Bruce wants to talk about. I think he is echoing the sentiments of quite a few Panther fans on this Monday. It is Monday sound off here on the drive. Bruce, go ahead and sound off.
Yeah, hey, Tim. I've been a Panther fan since they started. And I'm just sick of the cycle, man. We go through this cycle where we trade our best player, we get the number 1 draft pick, and we blow it year after year after year. And like you said, I was giving them a chance to this first game, and I don't know what else to do. I want to root for my home team, but I can't. You know, it's just we have a losing culture here. I don't care who we bring in at quarterback. We're going to lose. That's just what it is.
So let me ask you this. Right? The culture thing is interesting. How do you change that? Like from where you sit, what would need to happen for you to think, all right, now the culture is in a place where we might be able to bring a quarterback in and win some games?
Well, Tim, honestly, I hate to say this, but I was just telling my son, I picked him up at school, The only way to do this is for them to move the franchise to another city.
Oh,
They
no.
have to start all over.
Oh, no. All right, Bruce.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. You just heard a whole bunch of sighs across the triangle and the world with where the callers are coming from. Bruce, we appreciate the call. I'm not going to co-sign that one. We've seen it. The Texans. We've seen it. The Texans were mad that Davis Mills completed a pass that won a game for him at the end of the year because it cost them their draft capital. 2 years later, they have an MVP candidate and they're in the playoff race. They made the playoffs last year.
They should build a statue for Davis Mills.
It's you can turn things around quicker than you think in the NFL. I don't think you need to relocate at all. Thomas and Durham on the line. Heister Automotive Group hotline here on a Monday. Sound off, more Panther talk. Let's go ahead and get to Thomas. Thomas, what do you have for us?
Well, a quick comment on one of your previous points about lots of fans starting to feel like yesterday was the end of their hope for this season. I was actually following the live Reddit thread yesterday during the game, and I saw over 5,000 people express that exact point. But the point I actually called in for was I've spent my entire adult life arguing with anyone that wanted to make the insane suggestion that a great powerhouse college football team could beat an NFL team, and I'm willing to not make that argument anymore.
Oh,
because
goodness.
I believe
Okay.
The Tennessee squad we saw Saturday night and half of the SEC could probably give the Panthers a run for their money, and it's not all on Bryce. And I can appreciate the doom and gloom about Bryce, but we didn't have a single defensive stop yesterday. The special teams looked like they had never been on the field before. It was just an embarrassing football game to call myself a fan of that team.
Thomas, appreciate it. And by the way, I am right there in the trenches alongside you with the college teams could never beat an NFL team. And I'm still there. If you're abandoning our foxhole, I'll stay in there by myself. There's not a college team beating the Panthers. Bryce Young was the best college football player in the country. He has a Heisman Trophy, and we're wondering if he's a bust at the NFL level. That shows how much better the NFL is than college. Corey from North Dakota has one of the talking points I'm sure was discussed deep in the corners of those Reddit threads the previous caller was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Heister Automotive Group hotline. Corey joins us now. Corey, what do you have to say about Bryce and one particular moment for Bryce Young on Sunday?
So the very first offensive play he does, he misses Deontay Johnson wide open. And they cut to him walking off the field with a smile on his face. It's like, that's not how you should even be handling that play. You should be super mad about you missed that throw. It's not fun in games. I mean, it's supposed to be, but that bad of a throw right away. I was never a huge Bryce Young fan when he was coming to Alabama. I wish we would have just stayed at the 8th pick and would have took B.J. Robinson, decent running back, and then grabbed Hendon Hooker because he was more accurate in college, I thought. Let Hendon Hooker sit the year. I mean,
well hold on. To jump back to the smiling thing, could it just be disbelief? Like, I've seen people get out of like maybe a car accident or something, and they're laughing, and it's just because it's how in the world did this go this way? I'm with you. It looks bad, but could it? Is there a world where he was really upset, he was really mad, and the smile was just kind of a weird way to interpret that?
Well, you could think that, but then when you look at the next series they had, he missed Deontay Johnson heading to the sideline, overthrew him again when he was wide. He had the receiver beat and didn't step up into the pocket to even deliver that throw, and overthrows him again. It's like, I don't see how you're missing the throws, but there was one positive note. Our Mingo looked good, except for the fumble towards at the end.
It's a big except for, but yep.
And then Leggett looked good when they could get him the ball.
I agree with the Leggett point especially. Corey, we got to move on real quickly here, but I do appreciate the call.
Defense looked terrible. Defense looked completely terrible.
They did. That's Corey from North Dakota we have to move on from because our next caller is going to be Corey as well. The one thing I'll say about the smile, I hate it. I know it looks bad. It is a leadership thing to understand the seriousness of the situation. I don't think the smile is why he was missing passes later on in the game. I think that's probably, football related, and the smile is just a bad look. We'll get one more in here before the top of the hour here on Monday Sound Off on the Heister Automotive Group hotline on the drive. Corey in Wake Forest wants to go back to college, bring up some points. Corey, what do you have for us? Corey in Wake Forest, are you there? Going once. Going twice. Sold. Corey in Wake Forest, not with the connection. But
it sounds like a lot of football this weekend here in North Carolina. Go figure.
A lot of football, a lot of reactions here in North Carolina this weekend. We're going to keep checking in with the Heister Automotive Group hotline throughout the show. We do have a few things that we have to wait a second. I'm getting the hold on. I'm getting the hold on. Does this mean QT from California will wrap things up here at the top of the hour. QT, thank you for calling in. What's your topic? What do you want to talk about?
How you doing? It's a situation with Bryce, man. I can't do it no more. I tried to hold up for him. I tried to defend him all last year. I thought it was the line. I thought it was weapons. I thought it was all this and that. I thought it was coaching. But it's him, man. It's him. And you got to just burn it all down. We got to draft a legitimate quarterback, and we got to keep trying that until we hit a quarterback, because nothing's going to work until we got a quarterback. Our whole team is going to live off of quarterback shoulders. We weren't anything. I'm trying not to curse either, but we weren't nothing.
Thank you.
And since we had Cam Newton, and then before that it was Delhomme. And you have to have a quarterback first to keep on going from there.
Can I counterpoint real quick?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the exact mistake they made with Bryce? To me, you have to go get the offensive line, the receivers, you have to get the defense, you have to get the play caller, right? And then you get the quarterback, right?
But now we got that, and we got the wrong quarterback. If it was up to me, I'm a huge Texans fan. I say go get Ewers and connect that connection with Sanders and Brooks, and let's see how that works.
All right, just recreate last year's Texas team. I don't hate that move at all. I think
Carolina
getting Mechie and Jameson Williams may have helped out Bryce Young a little bit.
But they didn't make that happen, and I don't think it would have worked anyways.
All right, I'm not going to argue with you, QT, because you're making a lot of sense. QT from California, thank you for calling in. That's just a taste of Monday Sound Off here on the drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Just during that segment, we have callers from obviously North Carolina, Florida, Texas, New York, North Dakota, QT from California. I didn't realize we had gone so spread out across the country. There are Panther fans, there are State fans, there are fans all over the place looking for a little company today.
YouTube live chat is
lit up, I assume. There we go.
It is all gas.
So YouTube live stream available, as you just heard there. You can keep it tuned right here. We'll keep checking in with everybody on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. It's going to be I think a cathartic show. We're gonna work through this together. The drive with Tim Donnelly coming back after this with Football at 4. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
The question begging an answer for the year 2 QBs in the NFL, how are these guys going to make the playmakers around them better? These first couple of games will give us an idea if the reprogramming of Bryce Young and the rehabbing of Indy's Anthony Richardson were successful. And if not, it's not good news. We'll be seeing exit hooks out sooner than later.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 21st, D-Pack. Performing songs from their new album, Weather Vanes. Special guest, Alejandro Escovedo. Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. On sale now at dpacknc.com. Produced by Outback Presents.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hi, I'm Marcy Bailey, And at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, we understand your concerns when it comes to buying an engagement ring. Am I paying too much? Am I getting a quality diamond? Will she love the ring? Rest assured, we prioritize your happiness as much as the exquisite diamonds we offer. That's why we provide unparalleled guarantees to give you peace of mind. First of all, we offer an incredible 30-day money-back guarantee. Secondly, with our unique 100-day price protection, we promise you'll get the best price, quality, and value. But if you find a better offer, we'll match it and give you 10% of the difference. But we don't stop there. We also offer an unprecedented lifetime diamond guarantee. It's our way of giving you confidence throughout all of your cherished moments. We've been locally owned since 1948 and voted the best jeweler year after year. At Bailey's, we're not just selling jewelry. We're providing a legacy of trust. We invite you to shop with us and experience the difference.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I live and work on both coasts, travel the country, and there's nothing better than Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and half-price appetizers Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. Visit all 5 Triangle locations and ask for their great daily beer specials. And how about this special? Every Sunday, they have $6 Bloody Marys and $6.50 Jamesons. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Feeling great out there this afternoon. Nice drop in our humidity and temperature that started yesterday continues for much of this week. We'll see a high of 82 this afternoon with potential smoke from the western wildfires. 55 overnight tonight and a nice day tomorrow with sunny skies and a high of 85.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 484 points to 40,829. Market update brought to you by Copa Airlines. Fly Copa Airlines from RDU to Latin America and get 2 vacations in 1. Enjoy a stopover in Panama for up to 7 days with no extra airfare. Book your Panama stopover today at copa.com, COPA.com. This hour of the drive brought to you by Zero Res. Kick football season off with a deal this month from Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned starting at $119 and 25% off your air duct cleaning. ZeroResRaleigh.com. Again, ZeroResRaleigh.com.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's jump into football at 4. We just took, whatever it was, 20, 25 minutes of callers. Quite a few Panthers complaints, and I hadn't heard Derrick Brown's name, which tells me some of you may not quite know yet. So if you're a Panthers fan, and after the game yesterday, you said, you know what, I'm taking a break from sports until tomorrow afternoon, then I'll get caught up. You may want to sit down. I've got some news for you. Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, reported earlier this afternoon, Derrick Brown has a knee injury that will require surgery, and it is potentially season-ending.
Oof.
That's the, sometimes you need like a well-written, eloquent paragraph to completely convey a feeling. Sometimes you need just the sound that Dennis Cox just made.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Talk about injury to insult. Good Lord.
It's when it rains, it pours.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's in the movies when you say, at least it can't get any worse, and then it starts raining. like, at least it can't get any worse, then Derrick Brown might be done for the season. The defense is going to be worse yet again. Derrick Brown is having surgery. He's going to miss time. He's actually, let's in full disclosure, Dave Canales, the head coach of the Panthers, talked to the media today, and this was the update. So this was after the Tom Pelissero report on the surgery and the possible season ending. Canales spoke with the media. This was his update.
popped up on us. They're getting a second opinion. That's really all I can give you right now. He's, of course, just like Derek, like the spirit of it. And the one thing I can say is, like, you look at this game, and regardless of the time of the score, it's PAT or it's field goal, and Derek is rushing with full effort the whole time. It's the spirit of what we want to be about with the finish. And so for a guy like that, to talk to him today, like, he's like, I want to get a second opinion. Like, he wants to make sure that this thing is, to a point where there has to be other, other things to be taken in consideration.
Pelissero's original report had it as a meniscus surgery, so obviously that's the injury that we expect them to be dealing with. And Canales then confirmed that in the update. So not fun for somebody that size, not fun for a defense that already had underwhelmed this year, and that's with Derrick Brown out there on the field. He was, when we do the Dan Morgan dog scale, like, he was the German Shepherd. He was the only one I felt comfortable giving the highest level of dog to. He was the sure thing on the defense. When he plays well, he makes everyone else's job easier. Right? When he's taking all of the attention on the interior offensive line, that means there's less double teams for Clowney, less double teams for whoever the edge rusher is. That means more free reign and chasing ability by the linebackers, Shaq Thompson, by the linebackers, Josie Jewell. If he's collapsing the pocket, that means less time in coverage for the secondary. Without Derrick Brown, this defense gets worse. And the issue is, going into week one, we knew the defense was going to be worse than it was last year. Simple. They took resources from the defense and converted them to offensive help, right? They traded Dante Jackson for Deontay Johnson. Dante Jackson had an interception, ran it back for a touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They took that player who's at a position of need, a position that the Panthers have struggled to fill, traded him away, and in return got Deontay Johnson. I still think that's a good trade. I think it's a trade they had to make, but it is an example of converting resources on defense to offense. They took a whole bunch of money, didn't pay Brian Burns. Went and got Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis with a whole bunch of money. Those are offensive linemen. Like, that is what they did. So we knew their defense wasn't going to be as good from a dude's perspective. The part I wasn't expecting was the sloppiness and the communication and the mental errors on defense. The first touchdown over the top to Rashid Shaheed. Let's start at the beginning, right? Pockets collapsing a little bit. Derrick Carr is still able to get the pass off just deep down the middle. Hopefully someone runs under it. Shaheed runs right underneath it, makes the catch, and scores. If you watch the game, if you paid close attention, it looked like J.C. Horn got burned. J.C. Horn, by the way, he's the vice best player on the defense. I think Derrick Brown's the best. I have J.C. Horn as next best. So he gets burned, and it looks bad. And later in the game, Derek Carr is talking trash directly at J.C. Horn, holding up 3 fingers to say, I just threw for 3 touchdowns against you. So the day didn't look great for J.C. Horn. But watch the body language after that first touchdown. J.C. Horn didn't look frustrated with himself. He looked confused and frustrated that he didn't have safety help. I believe J.C. Horn was playing with the expectation that he had a safety helping him in the deep middle part of the field. So when Shaheed was on his way there, he knew, I can play behind him and I'll have the safety over the top and we'll have him covered. Instead, there was nobody over the top. He played behind him, touchdown. Now, I'm not throwing the safety under the bus, although that was Jordan Fuller, because maybe J.C. Horn was mistaken. Maybe there was some other site adjustment. Maybe there was something else in the call that said Jordan Fuller shouldn't have been there and J.C. Horn expected him to be. Maybe he should have been there and J.C. Horn was right in expecting him to be. Either way, they weren't on the same page, and that's the thing that I thought you wouldn't have this year. That's why you bring back Evero as your defensive coordinator, to have stability on the defensive side of the ball. That's why so many of the defensive players they brought in were players that had a past history playing for Evero, either in LA or in Denver. You thought at least I thought, that the talent level on defense would go down, but the continuity and the ability to be in the right spot would go up. Week 1, it looked like everything went down.
Mm-hmm.
And now you take away Derrick Brown, and you say that defense is the one that needs to support the offense while they figure it out. And oh, by the way, let's not pretend like they were playing the Kansas City Chiefs.
No. Who they will have at Bank of America Stadium later on.
Although at times Derek Carr looked like Mahomes.
Oh, gosh.
Derek Carr was throwing on the run. When's the last time you saw Derek Carr run, let alone accurately throw on the run? It was one of those games where, like, if it could go wrong, it did, right? Murphy's Law. It was one of those games. But you have to judge what you see on the field. You have to judge what you like. The product you put on the field is what you are judged on in the NFL. The defense, the product they put on the field wasn't good enough. And then we get the news today that you might be losing Derrick Brown for the season. I mean, this is, I know I said it earlier. You got to rally the troops, or you got to circle the wagons. That's the way, right? You got to circle the wagons. It might. I mean, you circle the wagons, get new wagons. Like, can you build a wagon? Are the horses fed? Like, you got to start asking every question about the Carolina Panthers. You were the worst team in the league last year. That's not me talking. That's records, right? You are what your record says you are. You were the worst team in the league in the NFL, and from the opening kick, it was worse this year than last. Now, you have 16 more games, so that it's, nothing is set in stone. But through one game, what was it? What was the sound we? Through one game, that's where we're at right now.
By the way, the Saints scored on their first 9 possessions of the game.
Is that all?
Yeah.
They didn't want to go for double figures?
They could have, but they pulled their starters.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah, they brought in Hainer.
Yeah.
I was going to say Fresno State's finest, but that's actually probably Derek Carr. They only take quarterbacks from Fresno State. Watch the body language. That's my last need to make sure we pay attention to thing here. Watch the body language, because you start having miscommunications on defense. Your best player's gone, if he is gone for the season. You don't want those rifts to become too dramatic. That's Evero and obviously Dave Canales' job. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will be taking more callers. We have the podium coming up next. Then we'll get back to the phone lines. We want to talk a little ACC football. But before any of that, here's Dennis Cox.
Great news for you homeowners out there. Mortgage rates are tanking. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. My friends at Loan Pronto have rates that start with a 4. This is the best rate in years, folks. Listen, if your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto has locked in folks recently at 4.99% APR. Whether you got your loan last week, last month, last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in process with another lender, stop now, give Loan Pronto a call, and ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. On approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We hit the podium coming up next. Out of the 4 ACC schools in the state of North Carolina who had the best weekend, they would get the gold medal, the silver, the bronze off the podium. We're talking football teams, by the way. And after that, we will open up the Heaster Automotive Group hotline for more of you to sound off. So get your thoughts in order, whatever you want to sound off on a Monday. We'll get there coming up after the podium. which is coming up next.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
Carolina wins it 47-45 in double overtime.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
The new bonus edition Buck Scratch-Off's got a first-ever bonus game in the Outback.
You mean on the back, not Outback.
What's on the back?
The bonus game.
Then what's on the front?
Prizes up to $1 million.
I thought the game was called Bucks.
It is. Just forget it.
Crikey, mate. Don't go telling people to forget it. The whole point is for them to be remembering it.
The all-new bonus edition Buck Scratch-Offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.81 to 4.75. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Hey friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. What a great NFL weekend that was. And you have another chance to start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet on tonight's game. Think about this single game parlay for Monday Night Football. A Breece Hall anytime touchdown. Aaron Rodgers over 250 passing yards, and Christian McCaffrey over 75 rushing yards. Just suggestions, everyone. Just visit FanDuel.com/Paul, P-A-U-L, and make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hello?
Hey, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. Did you know we've got you fully covered?
I've taken up beekeeping. I'm always covered.
I'm talking the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage at up to half the cost.
Same honey, half the work?
Exactly.
Sweet.
Just call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Don't forget, by the way, obviously there's quite a few of you that like to talk your feelings out about the Carolina Panthers. We have Panther Talk coming up after this show, so it's 6 o'clock right here on 99.9 The Fan. You will hear Panther Talk with that whole crew. You'll likely hear from Dave Canales. You'll get some insight into what the heck that was yesterday.
Yeah, Anish Shroff and the crew.
Yep, exactly. So that's coming up at 6 o'clock. We will also have tonight's game, Jets and Niners here on 99.9 The Fan.
That as well.
So there's a lot of football coming your way after week 1 in the NFL here on 99.9 The Fan.
Also, Wednesdays at 7 here on The Fan, Wolfpack Weekly with Dave Doran.
Which leads us into the podium. Let's go ahead and start it off. This is a 1-week award. We look at the 4 teams in the ACC right here in the state of North Carolina, and we name one off the podium, one bronze, one silver, one gold. You know how podiums work. Sometimes it's easy to come up with where to put a team. Sometimes we have to debate quite a bit. Off the podium, this one didn't take a ton of debate. The Wolfpack, NC State. 51-10 lost to Tennessee. There are now questions about the defense, questions about the running game, questions about the quarterback. Dave Doran, after the game, answered, what does he say to Grayson McCall after a loss like that?
Yeah, he's very competitive, mad at himself right now. Get back, study it, flush it, and move on, and he'll be excited to play the next game. I have great confidence in Grayson. And sometimes you have games like that as a quarterback, and as a head coach, I completely believe in him.
The transfer portal is something that's not going anywhere, so we just have to get used to it and accept it. I do wonder how different it is for this, though. Right, Grayson McCall has struggled through 2 games. First game, statistically, you wouldn't know it, but there was struggle. Second game against Tennessee, there was struggle. If the coach and the player had been together for 2 or 3 years, a redshirt year, you have that built-in time. You've seen him in spring practices, and I wonder how different it is when you're looking at him now, right? Because he's so new, he's so fresh to the program. You don't have that time in. I'm sure he does feel awful, but it's just you don't know each other like the back of your hand quite yet. Becoming his guy it's kind of difficult. Either way, 51-10, a loss to Tennessee. It was the prime time game of the weekend. That's going to be tough. So they're off the podium.
By the way, NC State will have another primetime opportunity 2 weeks when they play against Clemson. Noon kickoff on ABC.
Yep, you'll get the big game treatment again. And Clemson, for as bad as they looked against Georgia, looked pretty darn good against App State.
Put the boots to App.
Cade Klubnik said, I can't throw a deep ball. Watch how many I can throw in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's young guys at wide receiver really stepped up for Clemson. So it'll be a challenge for State, but they got to focus on this week before you even get to 2 weeks from now. That's off the podium. Let's get to bronze. Wake Forest, bronze medal. You know what happened to Wake Forest, don't you?
Oh, fumble late.
They got calandria'd.
They did.
For some reason, and State has seen it and Duke has seen it last year, Anthony Calandria, the quarterback of UVA, cannot play a normal game.
No.
He can't play a game where, UVA gets up 7, then they're up 10, then they hold on and win by 13. They don't have those games. They also don't have games where they fall behind by 2 scores and never get it going. He is if he's down 14, they're going to hold the lead at some point. If he's up 14, they're going to lose the lead at some point. And who knows how it's going to finish. Wake Forest was up 30-17 late in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up the fumble. You bring up some Calandria magic. 31-30 loss. Now that is a bummer, okay? And if it 100% for Wake Forest feels like you gave up something, right? It feels like you let one slip through the grasp, and you did. But there's a lot to build off of in that game. Hank Bachmeier threw for 400 yards. Claiborne, their running back, who had 100-something in the first week, had not quite 100, but nearing 100. I think it was like 85, with 2 touchdowns. Donovan Green, healthy. Missed all of last year with an injury. Healthy. 11 catches, 166 yards, and a touchdown. There's a lot to like. Now you just have to make sure somebody like Calandria and the little shooting yourselves in the foot things don't rob and take what should have been a victory out of your hands.
More in their wide receiver, who we talked to a couple months ago, had a fumble late, and then Green was picking it up, and the UVA defender literally just ripped it from his hands. And that was on as they were trying to go for either a game-winning field goal or a touchdown in the final couple of minutes. And Wake Forest literally just fumbled that chance away.
Literally had it within their grasp.
They did.
Not to laugh, but it's just I like puns.
True.
But there's a lot of good there. Again, you wish you came out with the win, but you're on the podium for that reason. It was a loss with things to build off of. There were good things to take away from that game, just like there were bad things to take away from that game. Let's jump to silver medal. Tar Heels, UNC, 38-20 win over Charlotte. 38-20, it felt like they were in control most of the game. There's two storylines here for UNC. One, the Conner Harrell era of the season has begun, and he does bring something different to the offense. It's not apples to apples saying like, well, the offense struggled with Max Johnson, and look at Conner Harrell, they put up this many because it was Minnesota or Charlotte, right? That's not a fair backdrop to judge them on. But I do think stylistically you can tell. The very first play of the game for UNC was a fake handoff to Omarion Hampton, and Conner Harrell ran off the left side for 5 yards. It was a wholly not memorable play, unless you're taking notes for a show like this. But it shows what Conner Harrell can do. I love not memorable plays that gain 5 yards. Love them. They're my favorite kind. First and 10 becomes 2nd and 5. Love it. You're on schedule. Your entire playbook is still in your possibilities. Now, it wasn't always that, right? Sometimes Conner got a little ahead of himself. Sometimes he maybe should have been more comfortable taking the loss or whatever, and he was trusting his legs a little too much.
He got a little happy in the pocket there, it felt like.
Exactly.
At times. He got a little happy in the pocket as opposed to just breathe. Breathe.
And it's not his first start, but kind of his first start of the year.
Really his first start.
The jitters were there, and sometimes I think it's harder for quarterbacks that know they can run to soothe the jitters because it's just I always have this Ferrari I can go use. Should I floor it? Should I gun it? No? How should I gun it? It's like, actually, no, just chill for a second. Let the play develop before you go take off. As a passer, uneven, up and down, made some very, very good throws, made some throws that I was going like, interesting.
And some of the play calling that we saw from Chip Lindsey as the game progressed, like, for example, I think it was McCullum that had the end around for the touchdown. They showed that same run action earlier, like literally in that series, and sure enough, Charlotte shot up to stop the run, and now you have the counter on the backside. Like, the play calling early in the game set up guys for Harrell and others to get scores and such later on in the game. I thought that was actually good play calling as the game progressed by Lindsey.
The reverse flea flicker deep ball, similar.
That was fun.
You set all of that up though with prior motions and everything. The one thing I would have liked Harrell to do there is pull the trigger faster. I think he had one of those moments where he's like, "There's no way he's that open.
Like,
Who am I missing? Where is the safety?" And it turns out he was just that open. Just trusting what you see. The other story for UNC. This is less fun to talk about. Injuries.
They got a little nicked up.
Omarion Hampton out of the game, was held out even though he was available to return. Already prior to the game, I should have started with this, Kamen Rucker injured in the weight room on whatever it was, Thursday.
It was Thursday, yeah.
So he didn't play, wasn't available, and is going to be out a couple weeks-ish. Nothing definitive. Bryson Nesbitt out of the game with an upper body injury. He didn't return. Austin Blaski, or the transfer from Georgia center, was helped off. And I'm just looking at this going, I like some of the things the new offense is doing, but if they lose like a potential all-ACC player every 15 plays, this is not going to be a good game for UNC.
Mac Brown did say after the game that the injuries were not going to be anything long-term. Like you said, Nesbitt probably could have came back. Same thing with Omarion Hampton, could have came back. But nothing that's going to keep a guy out longer than a week, maybe 2 for Kamen Rucker, 2 to 3 in that range is what he said. But your upcoming games, you have NC Central, which Trey Oliver's done a fantastic job building up NC Central, but they're an FCS program.
And be cautious. If you see a guy held out, cautious. It might be, you hear this in like practice injuries where it's like, if we had a game tomorrow, they'd play. but they're not going to practice for the next 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
it's not saying these are practice games, but hey, if we were playing an ACC team here, Omari and Hampton would have been getting the ball in the fourth quarter. And what was it? Goss was doing a great job. So
he was doing really good.
You might even find somebody that could spell Omari and Hampton as the season goes along, and you maybe don't have to give him 30 carries. You might be able to give him 26 and give 4 to Goss because he looked good.
Mac did say it was nice to actually get those guys valuable live game reps. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to give the ball 30 times to Omari and Hampton. Maybe make it 24.
The reason why I think it's part of the story is Conner Harrell's out there trying to run a new offense, and it probably felt like a revolving door in the huddle. Just all right, switch my center. All right, switch the guy who stands next to me in the backfield. All right, my safety blanket, get him out of here. All right, what are we doing? That's difficult for a quarterback who's a little antsy already to deal with. Mac Brown, after the game, obviously the head coach, was asked about Conner Harrell, and this is part of what he had to say.
Thought Conner did a lot of really good things. We were 6 for 11 on third down. We ran for 269 yards. We threw it for 221 yards, and we can do a better job in that area. But I thought that this will be a great teachable moment game for him.
I agree. I think there's a lot he can learn from, but there's also a lot that he can look at and say, oh, yeah, I'm definitely good enough to play at this level. Right? Not many guys can make that play, and I did. I think there were both. So that's silver for UNC. Let's round out the podium with gold. Duke Blue Devils. Duke, gold medal for the week. I mean, we kind of made the rule last week. If everybody else is playing either FCS or Group of 5 teams or losing, and you beat a power conference opponent, you go straight to the head of the line. Duke beat Northwestern in overtime 26-20. You know what this game is? This game is the reason the 24-hour rule exists. If you know what the 24-hour rule is you celebrate every win for 24 hours. Our coach, my coach back in college, he would follow after every win. First thing he would say in the locker room is, it's really hard to win a college football game, and you just did that. And then we'd all cheer and go nuts. Didn't matter if we were playing the best team on our schedule, the worst team on our schedule. It's really hard to win a college football game, and you just did that. I think Duke's film sessions on whenever they get together for the first time, whether it's today, some do it yesterday, they aren't going to be particularly fun, right? So celebrate, go nuts. You won a football game, right? Try to put it out of your mind and have a good time for 12 hours, 24 hours, whatever your rule is. But once you get in that film room, we got some things we need to talk about.
Oh yeah, that was a grind.
Special teams. What are we doing here?
Bad. Block punt,
muffed punt.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of really, really sketchy stuff going on.
There's a stretch there in the second quarter because of a muffed punt that gave the ball right back to Northwestern. That Duke's offense was literally on the sideline, I felt, for 25 actual real life minutes. Not game minutes, but real life minutes. Just sitting there. Doing nothing.
And I mean, there's the missed field goal at the end.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you found a way to win, though.
Exactly. Celebrate it.
You found a way to win.
But talk about things to learn. The running game. After watching the Elon game, I was going, if you can't run the ball at Elon, this is going to be tough. Well, you darn sure didn't run the ball at Northwestern. And then Jaquez Moore got hurt early, who's kind of your big play guy. I give Starr credit. First of all, great name for a running back.
Mm-hmm.
Starr stepped in, did admirably, but this is what it feels like for Duke. You try to just hold on. The defense, by the way, did play well.
They did.
The defense has been playing well, and give credit where it's due. This is the Duke early blueprint. Defense is playing well. Team is staying locked in. Manny Diaz hasn't bought in. It's like keep you in the game long enough till eventually Jordan Moore can go win the game for you. Jordan Moore, the wide receiver, is a legit talent, and it's just, hey, if we keep this close, Jordan Moore might be able to make a couple plays to win the game for us, and that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Manny Diaz, I'm very happy with the first 2 games of being a head coach at Duke. You're 2-0, grinding win against Elon, grinding win against Northwestern. You're a third of the way to bowl eligibility. Your team is bought in. The culture looks strong. You've got at least one or two studs that you can lean on to make big plays. It's going to get harder, but through 2 games, I'd be very pleased. Thus, gold medal for Duke. Gold medal for Duke. That's the podium here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and open up those phone lines once again for a little Monday sound-off. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. We just took a tour around the ACC in North Carolina. If you have something you want to sound off on in college, feel free to do so, 919-860-5326. We want to hear from you. If you have a Panthers take, obviously a lot of earlier today we heard solutions for the Panthers, everything from put in Jack Plummer to up and completely relocate the team. You have to take them out of Charlotte, out of Carolina. So there's a few different things going on.
The YouTube live chat is already going through potential quarterback draft prospects for 2025. We've seen Cam Ward. We've seen Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck, Jackson Dart, Shador Sanders. Someone even said, why don't you go after Joe Milton up there in New England? I mean, that's where we are.
So a caller mentioned Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker as well.
Here's the deal. At this time last year, you wouldn't even have known Jaden Daniels was going to be a top pick.
You did,
right? So if that makes you feel better, feel free to go watch college games and imagine what they'd look like in a Panthers uniform. But for at least the first half of the year, focus on what the Panthers are putting on the field. There's plenty of time to get to draft prospects. 919-860-5326, Heister Automotive Group hotline.
By the way, one of those guys, Cam Ward, that was mentioned, has got Miami looking like a machine.
Yeah, the ACC being wide open is looking more and more like it's wide open with Miami head and shoulders above the rest. The hype that I've been conditioned not to believe looks like it might be true for Miami, but famous last words, right? Miami, they know how to lose a game that they're not supposed to lose. At least they have over the last 10 years. And they're not the only ones. I like what Kyle McCord did at Syracuse. Kyle McCord showed fire that I didn't know he had on the sideline at Syracuse. I like what BC is doing through 2 weeks. Clemson obviously has some kind of higher gear. So I'm not giving it to Miami, but I do think it's worth mentioning that the Miami Hurricanes look like the best team in the ACC, and if they continue to look the way they've looked, they'll be the best opportunity, the best chance, the best potential candidate for the ACC to end up in the college football playoff.
Does it hurt the ACC that Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois?
Yeah,
because
it does.
Notre Dame's going to play a bunch of ACC schools.
Exactly. It just, if they were up to what, fifth? I think they were fifth in the country.
Now they're down to 18, I think.
If they do very, very well, it gives everyone that plays Notre Dame a chance at a season-making win. Now that they've lost to Northern Illinois, who, by the way, comes to NC State in a couple of weeks.
That's true, they do.
So that looks like a more formidable opponent rather than the scheduled win that you were hoping for out of the group of five. If Notre Dame loses, which they did, in a not aesthetically pleasing way, now every win and loss against Notre Dame for the rest of the way carries less sizzle.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Cal, appreciate it.
Big win over Auburn.
Appreciate
Let's go.
it. Welcome to the ACC. SMU. What the heck was that? Can't be losing to BYU.
What are you doing?
How
about Syracuse beating Georgia Tech, who comes to Carter Finley later on this year too, by the way.
I am pleasantly surprised by Kyle McCord, the quarterback of Syracuse. I will say I don't like Fran Brown, their coach, doing the whole their coach was talking like he did one of those things like I keep receipts in the post-game press conference. Brent Key, the coach at Georgia Tech, is not a he trust me, whatever you think he said that got you that worked up, he did not say it, and if it came out funny, he did not mean it.
Sounds like one of those manufactured things.
It was like, it was a hard-fought game. You won. Congratulations. Seems like you should be able to make that your calling card or whatever you want it to be. Pitt beat Cincinnati. Like it it was a low-key solid weekend for the ACC if it wasn't for, the Tennessee-NC State game being the only thing that anyone nationally is going to remember.
At least Florida State didn't lose.
They lost to the bye.
They didn't lose. They didn't win. They didn't lose either.
I made my picks. I picked bye over Florida State.
Bye, undefeated.
That's I have a buddy that was in a men's league. I think it was a basketball league, and they named their team Off Week.
Oh yeah.
So the other teams would see Joe's Fun Bunch versus Off Week, and then they'd think it was a bye, like they were off that week, and they wouldn't show up because if you if you didn't show up, you forfeited. Mm-hmm. And they won 4 or 5 games just by naming themselves Off Week.
Smart.
So I feel like Florida State lost to Off Week this week. They showed up and there was a team there waiting. All right, if you want us to give you the business, we'll do it.
Through a couple games, I mean, Miami seems like the cream of the crop.
Mm-hmm.
Who's 2? Who's number 2? You think right now behind Miami, based off what we've seen?
As far as resume, or who do I think is the best?
Who do you think is the number 2 behind Miami?
I think it's probably still Clemson.
Is it still Clemson? I mean, because they did put the boots to App. When you look at the score, it's it's 35-0. Oh, it's still the first quarter.
It was 42-0, right into the second quarter.
Yeah,
and I mean, if you're talking quality losses, getting smacked around by Georgia. Name me another team other than maybe Miami right now that you'd be confident wouldn't get smacked around by Georgia in the ACC. And they didn't lose by as much as NC State lost to Tennessee.
Yeah.
So the ACC is not in the best place. I'm going to try to defend them all season, but they're not in the best place right now.
They're not.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will open up those phone lines for more Monday Sound Off. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. But before we hear from you and everything you want to sound off on in the weekend, I'm Tim Donnelly for Capital Financial Advisory Group. How about this? The life insurance that you thought you knew, your parents' version of life insurance, your grandparents' version of life insurance, it's a thing of the past, right? There's new game-changing amendments in the world of life insurance. And this is just one of kind of the examples of why Capital Financial Advisory Group can help you navigate planning for retirement. These game-changing amendments allow you to do things like pay for long-term care expenses with your death benefit tax-free, right? And how you set that up and the new innovations and how you use it is just one of the many, many ways Capital Financial Advisory Group can walk you through planning for retirement. Because as there are new innovations and everything, you want to make sure you're on top of it, right? You don't want to be the one who's, I set this up 30 years ago, and now I'm retiring, and look at this. I could have had X, Y, and Z more money in my retirement, or I could have left X, Y, and Z more money to my kids or my grandkids or whatever you want to do with it. So go ahead and give them a call. 800-691-3215. Let them know you heard about it here from me on 99.9 The Fan. 800-691-3215. And if you do let them know you heard about it from me, you'll not only get the complete and total retirement package, but also the 7 Baby Steps box set for free, all from Coach Pete over at Capital Financial. If calling isn't your thing, by the way, go ahead and text. Just send my name, TIM, to 600-700. That's TIM to 600-700. They'll know why you are reaching out. We're going to open up the phone lines for more of Monday's Sound Off, so get your thoughts ready, whether it's about State, the Panthers, UNC's quarterbacks, Duke's overtime win, whatever it is. We want to hear from you. 919-860-5326. We open the phone lines next.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence-9 test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Where'd y'all go last week?
Well, we've been watching our budget.
So no going out?
Oh yeah, we're going out, just hitting all the specials. First, we hit the House of Hops. That's Jerome's favorite spot. Big savings on Monday and Wednesdays. Mix and match craft beer and 25% off on to-go growlers. Oh, it's a great place to relax.
You know, the Mix has some good specials and they're across the street.
You have to check out their wine tastings once a month and their live music schedule, plus $5 draft beer on Thursdays. Then Saturday, it's salt and lime brunch, and Monday they have $5 margaritas.
Wait, what about Sharky's?
Oh, sweetie, you know Sharky's is special all the time.
So you're just going in a circle. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharky's. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharky's. Sounds like a vicious cycle.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a vicious cycle. More like a wonderful cycle.
Yeah, sounds like a cycle I need to be riding.
House of Hops, the Mix, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Definitely a cycle you should be riding. Hope to see you soon.
What a great NFL weekend that was, and you have another chance to start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 wager on tonight's game. How about a Breece Hall anytime touchdown, which is plus 130, Christian McCaffrey over 75.5 rushing yards, and Aaron Rodgers over 235.5 passing yards. There you go with a single game parlay. Just visit FanDuel.com/AdamGold to make every moment more this season. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Train heating and cooling systems are engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a sound-off Monday. We want you, the listeners, to call in, 919-860-5326, Heister Automotive Group hotline, and get whatever thoughts you have off your chest. Panthers, State, a couple of big losses, and I mean big on the scoreboard, and then UNC, Duke, and whatever else you want to talk about. It's the first weekend of NFL, second weekend of college football. Sound off, if you will.
If you want to gloat.
Yeah, gloat.
Gloat.
Hey, we're big on accountability, both sides.
Gloat.
You want to call and make a prediction. We'll hear those as well. John and Gardner, you're going to be on the line first. Everyone else, you can join as well, 919-860-5326. John, what do you have to say about NC State? Thank you for joining us.
Well, I'm an alumni, and I was at the game down in Charlotte. I'm probably still hoarse. I tailgated with the NIL Savage Wolves pregame. It was a lot of fun. It was really hyped. All the people in the stands and all were yelling. It was really loud, and I was excited through the first quarter, and I started getting less excited when I saw us getting pushed around. And quite frankly, by the halftime, I was like, I think I'm going to stop coming to these bowl games and big games. I went to Clemson 2 years ago, and we got pounded. Went to the Kansas State bowl game. We got pounded. You know, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't go and it would win. But very disappointed, and more so Saturday, probably embarrassed for our team, the conference, national TV, walking out of the stadium around all the opposing team fans. It was just embarrassing.
I appreciate the call, John, and I'll respond here and call back in anytime. Embarrassed, like people get mad when you throw that word around at a college team. I'll tell you right now, as a player that has played very, very bad in games in college, embarrassment is one of those things you feel. It's one of the emotions you feel. And fans, I don't know if embarrassment is fans because it's not like you were out there making the bad plays, but there is a sense of like letdown. And that's thrill of victory, agony of defeat. It's why we compete. All right, all the greatest athletes of all time will say, I hated losing more than I loved winning. Like that happens. A lot of people are gonna look at Grayson McCall, the quarterback, as somebody that should be feeling that wide range of emotions. I think Grayson needs to somehow unleash or Grayson needs to take a breath. Grayson McCall needs to relax.
Yeah, like the Duke can play. He's done it before.
We've seen it. 5 years of football. Like, he has the ability. He looks a lot like a professional athlete that just got a massive contract and suddenly feels the weight of an entire city on their shoulders and they tense up. The quarterback is a hard position. I think you need to care more and work harder than everyone else on the team, but you also need to have a really healthy amount of bleep it. Like, you need to be on both sides of that. Grayson McCall has absolutely no bleep it right now. Everything he does is like, this pass has to be perfect, and perfect passes don't exist. Cut it loose, my man.
It's like, it has to be perfect, but I also have to make sure, like, it's almost like I got to win the game on this play. It's like, no, man, it's 2nd and 4 in the 10 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Just relax.
Just throw an accurate ball. You're fine. You're fine.
Chill. And if it's incomplete, guess what? That's what second down exists for.
We got third down, guys.
Yeah.
Optimus bully this thing. Let's go.
It's just chill. Relax a little bit. Robert in Raleigh's on the line next. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Call in and sound off. Robert, thank you for calling in. What do you want to sound off on?
Well, I got to preface this by I did call and say I wanted to talk Duke football, so I hope this call doesn't get me banned. I'm going to go back 15 years to almost 15 years. Shannon Penn, I had to call and tell him I wanted to talk about Georgia Tech, and basically it was because of their upcoming opponent.
Okay.
So Duke, going into Saturday night's game at 6 o'clock at Wallace Wade Stadium.
You're talking about this upcoming game, the UConn game.
Yes. Unbelievably, Duke won their last 2 games last year, regular season or bowl game, and they won their first 2 games of this year.
Okay.
UConn in their last 4 is 3-1. So,
2 heavy hitters is what you're saying. This is a monsters matchup.
If we're just going by the numbers and you're not going to ask me who Connecticut played, we're okay. But 3 wins out of the last 4 is a step up. So this week, when it gets closer to game time, Darian Mel of the retired Darian Mel Show corrected me. It's not Jim Mora Jr. There's Jim Ernest Mora, the dad, and Jim Lawrence Mora, the son.
Okay.
And he admitted a couple years ago, before the bowl game against Marshall,
You're talking Jim Mora is the coach of UConn, for those of you that aren't keeping up.
Yes. He admitted before the bowl game that he never thought he should have been let go of UCLA at UCLA. Yep. Connecticut, I know it's all about football to get into the power leagues. Connecticut has found the coach. NC State got Justin Jolie. If UConn can keep Jim Lawrence Moore as their coach, we have the guy can get us to a power conference. And Duke should not take this team lightly. And the ACC will raid UConn's receiving core at the end of the season. And I'll give you a tidbit for looking forward to this Saturday. And I look forward to listening to you the rest of the week. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I won't argue with you because one of my good friends from middle school played for Jim Moore at UCLA, and he's on the UConn coaching staff. So I would say they're awesome because my guy Dalton's out there coaching the secondary. But he did give me the heads up that Justin Jolie was really good when I saw that commitment come in. Let's head back to the call-in line. Heister Automotive Group hotline. Reginald and Dunn has a take on NC State as we stay kind of in the ACC world. Reginald, what do you have for us?
Yes, sir. I'm not really a State fan. I just think Tennessee is that good. I feel that they're going to beat everybody this year. I mean, whoever's on their schedule, from what I see from the quarterback and their D-line and O-line, they just look really, really good. And State's not that bad. It's just that Tennessee is that good.
I first of all, I agree with you. Tennessee is very good, and I'm a big fan of Yamaliava. But for a game to go that way, you needed Tennessee to do some good things and get some help from NC State. Like, that's obviously we're going to focus on the NC State side of things because we're here in the Triangle. But but you need both. That game wasn't like they kind of handled us. That was we shot ourselves in the foot and they kind of handled us. You know, like it could have been closer, even with Tennessee being as good as they are.
And one more thing, I could listen to y'all all day, but
thank you.
North Carolina needs to let their quarterback.
Now you're over to the Tar Heels. You're over to Conner Harrell now.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. I'm sorry, but I think they need to turn their quarterback loose a little more. You know, they still just holding back on them too much.
All right, I appreciate it, and I'll address that quickly here. So thank you for calling in, Reginald, and thank you for the kind words. It was his first game as a starter this year, right? He played in the bowl game last year, but let's I wouldn't expect Chip Lindsey to show everything they have in their playbook for Conner Harrell the first game against Charlotte when you were in control for most of it. Maybe not the biggest blowout that you were hoping for, but I didn't get the feeling like they were on upset alert anytime in the second half. So they broke out some, right? The end around to McCollum was nice. The flea flicker reverse deal was nice. I still think they have some things in that Conner Harrell offense that are under wraps, right? Because you don't want to show everything. But now you do know, like every time you hand off a speed sweep, the other team has to be aware of the reverse. Sometimes you put that stuff on film just to make other coaches have to show it on film. But I don't think they showed everything for Conner Harrell. I think there's going to be a game where he pops a couple long runs, and they just didn't need him. And also, at least until you get Jacoby Criswell, a couple of weeks is getting the number 2 reps in practice. Your starter just went down. You really can't afford to have the next guy go down also. So you don't want Conner Harrell to be at risk of injury, so you don't run him too much until Jacoby Criswell, who had been third string, you're more comfortable with him as a second string, even as a veteran. So a lot going on in the ACC. I do want to go back to the one caller that said Tennessee is just legit. I think Tennessee is very, very good. I think you're looking at a college football playoff contender. I think you're looking at a team that's going to turn some heads in the SEC. They weren't perfect on Saturday, though. Yamaliava did throw the 2 picks. One of them was a pick 6. They're very, very good in the trenches. Their defensive line is disruptive. James Pierce, who is a Charlotte native, right? He went to Tennessee from Charlotte. Maybe the most frustrating part of Tennessee is how many gosh darn good recruits they get from the state of North Carolina. I don't know. It's in a kung fu movie where like you steal the other guy's sword and slash him with it. It's like that's mine. No, that's not supposed to work against me. James Pierce Jr. being that good and then using it against NC State felt like, whoa, hold on, what's going on here? That's not right. But it was right. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'll tell you something else that's right. Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. What do you call it? A TD, a tutty, taking it to the house, whatever you call a touchdown. They matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. If you're ready to place your first NFL bet, try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. I have the odds for tonight's game, which you can hear right here, in front of me for the touchdown scores. CMC, far and away the best odds to score a touchdown. We know what that's like here in Carolina, right? Minus 180 for McCaffrey. But if you scroll further down, there's some interesting names. Brandon Ayuk, fresh off the holdout, plus 190. Alan Lazard, he's always good friends with his quarterback, Rodgers, plus 650. And you can always get a backup running back, Jordan Mason or Braylon Allen, plus 650, plus 850 if anything happens to those starters that are much lower odds. If you're ready to do a touchdown dance of your own, place a bet, right? And score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's TIMD. Code as you sign up for new customers. And if you do that, you'll get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. And you'll get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus. North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms. We'll take a break. When we come back, we have the starting five, starting with a big old game for tonight. Stick around.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're dishing up a clash of conferences.
Hot dog, man.
It's the New York Jets and San Francisco.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7:30.
Get ready.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
Here we go.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle sports leader.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
The new bonus edition Buck Scratch-Off's got a first ever bonus game in the Outback. You mean on the back, not Outback. What's on the back? The bonus game. Then what's on the front? Prizes up to $1 million. I thought the game was called Bucks. It is, just forget it. Crikey, mate, don't go telling people to forget it. The whole point is for them to be remembering it.
The all-new bonus edition Buck Scratch-Offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.81 to 4.75. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hey, John. Why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Homeowners, listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Hey, it's Dennis Cox for Loan Pronto. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted to lows we haven't seen in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner with a 4.99% APR. Whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in the process with another lender, stop now and call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. On approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Raleigh's injury lawyers.
Bounces his way into the end zone. Touchdown!
Visit GotBrian.com.
That's GotBrian.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We saw some wildfire smoke from Canada drift across the area today. Tonight's low will be cool again with all the dry air, 55. Tomorrow it's a warmer day, but still comfortable. Humidity are high at 85.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 484 points today to 40,829. Market update brought to you by DPAC. It's Jason Isbell and the 400 unit Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 21st at DPAC. Tickets on sale now at dpacnc.com. Again, dpacnc.com. This hour of the drive brought to you by Zero Res. Kick football season off with a deal this month from Zero Res with 3 rooms of carpets cleaned starting at $119 and 25% off your air duct cleaning. Go to ZeroResRaleigh.com. Again, ZeroResRaleigh.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to the starting 5, during that commercial break, Dennis filled me in on some sad news. A legend, James Earl Jones, has sadly passed away at the age of 93. James Earl Jones. You know, I was thinking, and Dennis, I have a feeling I know where you'd go with it. I think I'd go somewhere else. I think part of the generational talent of James Earl Jones is he's done like 10 things that I assume should be at the first thing we mention.
Yeah.
Right? Because you go, he's the voice of Vader, right? He's the voice of Darth Vader. But also, I mean, we're on a sports show here. Do you go somewhere other than Field of Dreams? But then also, if you're my age, you grew up with him as the Sandlot, right?
Yeah.
And then you
Might
go
as well. Lion King, Mufasa.
Exactly. Like it's the where do you start? Not to mention, and I've heard like Denzel Washington talk about him on podcast as a stage actor and how unbelievable he is. Like I don't know him in that personal way, but if you are somebody that mixes up in the arts world like that, maybe you saw him in a production of Othello or something, and you'll never get it out of your head. So James Earl Jones passed away, age of 93. Obviously a legend. The voice. You know, should we get into a real strange conversation real quick?
Go on.
I've read that like older actors have started negotiating like what their fee would be to use their name, image, and likeness past their death with AI. And usually I'm like, you know what? I like when somebody's like if you pass away, we honor you by watching the work you've done, and I kind of like letting the next go. James Earl Jones is a narrator, man. If we can make it work with AI, it brings a certain gravitas to a lot of stuff. He might be one that makes a little bit of sense there. Either way, thoughts go out to his friends, his family, the acting communities that he was within, and the Star Wars community and everything else that he held so near and dear. No easy transitions after that, so let's just go ahead and jump into the starting 5, starting with number 5. Jets Niners tonight.
Oh, football.
You can hear it right here on 99.9 The Fan. Following, by the way, Panther Talk at 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Week 1 in the NFL isn't even done yet.
I feel like it's been going on for forever.
Think of everything we've had. How long ago does the finger or the toenail changing the outcome of the Ravens-Chiefs game feel? It feels like Jordan Love had like a season-ending injury and is somehow coming back like next week already. So much has happened in the last 4 days. We had all of college football, all of NFL football, and we still have one more to go. Jets at Niners. Do you know what I call San Fran? San Fran is torture for Panthers fans. Which, like, down the middle would be Christian McCaffrey, right? You traded Christian McCaffrey. You didn't even get a first-round pick. And now he's doing everything. And for the most part, although he is a little banged up now with a calf Achilles deal, staying very, very healthy for the Niners, which is just like, really, dude? But then I'll throw this in there as well. The Panthers, would you call it struggle to find their quarterback of the future?
Talking about the Panthers struggle?
The Panthers.
I mean, yeah, since Cam, yeah.
The Niners made as equally as bad a trade for their quarterback of the future and whiffed just as bad as some are saying that the Panthers have whiffed with Bryce Young.
You're referring to Trey Lance.
They traded 3 first-round picks plus to trade up to number 3 to draft Trey Lance, and it was a complete whiff. Yet somehow they've escaped because they drafted Brock Purdy with the last pick in the 7th round. Panther fans have to be going like, really? Even when they mess up as bad as we mess up, they don't get punished the way we get punished because their 7th round pick turns into an MVP candidate? What the heck is going on over here? Yeah. And some of their really good players ask for trades like Brian Burns does, but yet somehow they still end up on their team, Brandon Ayuk, but we have to trade away all of our good players? The heck is going on here? The Niners are if like every sliding door that the Panthers have had recently slid to the right side instead of the wrong side. You'd end up with the Panthers.
By the way, someone in our YouTube live chat actually earlier in the show did say I'd much rather have Trey Lance right now than good old Bryce Young.
Maybe both. Put Trey Lance at tight end.
Sure, why not?
He's fast. That's all I know. I don't know if he can throw. He's played like 5 games since high school, but he's fast. Of that, I am sure. That's by the way, Jets, Niners, right here, 99.9 The Fan, later tonight. And before that, Panther Talk at 6 o'clock. It's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Is that a new 4 sounder?
It is. I unfortunately I forgot to load the new number 5 I had. I can play that for you
I'm
as
excited
well.
now. I'm excited for new. Duke wins overtime. Northwestern Friday night. This is an ugly win. Not every win is made to be put on a postcard and show everybody. That was an ugly, ugly win.
No pictures on the scorecard, right?
Exactly. The most, like, you can sit here. This is what I would do if I were Duke, right? That is a hideous, ugly, gross, sloppy, not well played win. I'd go, what's the most important word in that sentence?
Win.
Win. That's what it was. And they're 2-0. They are 2-0. Were either of them the most satisfying wins they could possibly have? No. But wins are wins are wins. And I actually sometimes, for a team, I think those wins are more valuable than the ones where you go out there and your first drive, march it down the field and score a touchdown. Your defense gets 4 turnovers. Your quarterback throws for 300 yards. Those wins are more fun, right? And anyone that's ever been on the sideline of a football game when it's just wind in your sails, full steam ahead, you're mowing them down, all 3 phases, nothing is more fun in sports. But as far as team development, sometimes I think the really super-duper ugly wins are more important. A, you learn how to fight to the end. B, you learn how to win close games when one play changes everything, right? Jordan Moore stepped up, made some plays. There was a point in the game where Jordan Moore was not involved enough in Duke's offense, their star wide receiver. But when plays needed to be made, he made them. And 3, I think Coach has full attention. We'll use Duke as an example. There's a ton of Coach K stories. Jason Tatum was on J.J. Redick's podcast maybe a year and a half ago, and they were trading their "How mad did Coach K get at you" stories. Mm-hmm. And it was, we showed up in the locker room and he had taken away all of our practice gear, and we had to wear, Walmart white T-shirts and gray shorts to practice. And he wouldn't let us do our laundry, so you had to take your sweaty stuff after practice home to shower and do laundry. And the he brought us all to his house. I forget what they were at his house for some reason, and they got yelled at. Like all of these stories, and there's something to be said for after a bad loss, like you have all the players' attention, right? You lose a game that you shouldn't, You tell the players, like, you don't drink enough pickle juice, and they'll be like, all right, gotta go to the store and get pickle juice. Like, it's whatever the coach says. You hang on their words because you're like, that loss felt awful. I was embarrassed. The bad taste in my mouth is still there, and you're clamoring for, like, Coach, tell us how to never feel that way again. Well, Duke won, but there's a little bit of that, right? There's a little bit of that, like, hey, the linemen and running backs have to be in meetings going, I want to be able to run the ball better than we've done it. Coach, show me the way. Special teams. So I hope special teams had meetings soon as they got to Durham. Get off the plane from Illinois. Get back to the campus. Special teams meetings are starting right now. It was that kind of game for special teams. Duke has their attention even though they got to win. So you don't even have to suffer the loss to get the focus. That's number 4. Let's go ahead and jump to number 3. I like it. Now I just want to hear what number 2 and number 1 are.
The same.
Oh, really? Well, we'll shake them up. Now that I've gotten a taste of it, I like new.
Don't worry, they'll be debuted as the week goes on.
All right, sounds good. UNC is the number 3, the actual number 3. UNC beats Charlotte. Shaky at times, uneven at times. A learning kind of opportunity for the entirety of it. For Conner Harrell, how about for the guys that had to step up in place of players that were out with injury? How about Goss, the running back, the freshman running back, Davion Goss? Do you know what is, like, players, they see depth charts, right? And if you're behind Omarion Hampton, you know what your day looks like. Not a lot of carries. British Brooks made the Houston Texans' original 53-man roster. British Brooks was a running back for UNC last year. He made the opening day active roster for the Houston Texans this year. He got like 70 carries last year because they could not find a way to justify not giving it to Omarion Hampton all of those other times. So if you're Goss, you're a freshman, you're behind Omarion Hampton, You're hoping your team gets in some blowouts. Like you win by 30 so you can get in there and get some run. Omarion Hampton gets hurt. He goes in. Goss runs for 100 yards. Now, guess what? I'm not saying you're going to get a ton. You might get British Brooks attempts. You might get, hey, Omarion Hampton, if you're out there for a 12-play drive and you're tired, tap your helmet. We now trust this guy to go in. That is a lesson for UNC, both the young player and the team. Conner Harrell, obviously, it's your first start. You had your ups and downs. It was uneven. First start, non-bowl game edition. You had your ups and downs. It was a little uneven, but you learned. You learned a lot. Mac Brown, after the game, head coach, on Conner Harrell handling adversity.
I thought he handled it really well. I didn't like the way we responded to the 1-minute drill with 4 minutes left right before the half. We were kind of disorganized, and then we hit a pass, and we're lined up with too many guys on the line of scrimmage. And so we've got to do better in those areas. Sam and Drake had so much poise when they were going, so we've got to get better in those 1-minute drives. But we can get Conner running the option like he can, and we will. We can move him more with boots and nakeds. He had one right into a blitz, and he got to throw that ball away. So this will be worth 5 years of coaching for Chip, for Clyde, and for Conner.
Nothing like game reps. Absolutely nothing like game reps. For learning, for improvement. You know, watching film of someone else is helpful. And you can learn, and your coach can say, don't do what this guy did. But when you're watching film of yourself, and he says, don't do this, it sinks in more. You know what you were thinking. You know what you saw. You know why you thought that was the right. And you can go back and almost reprogram it from the cause rather than just trying to treat the action, the symptom. Overall, though, I thought it was a good day for UNC. If all of the injuries that they expect to be minor remain minor, I think it was a good day. I think they learned a lot. I think they improved a lot. As number 3, let's jump to number 2.
Just the two of us.
NC State got steamrolled by Tennessee. This one, I don't know. Every once in a while, and I don't necessarily believe in these kind of theatrics, but I've been on teams that have done it twice, where the coach goes out of his way to very, very performatively, I don't know if that's a word, dramatically, like burn the tape, where we're not even going to watch it. There was a game I played in high school. It was the first game of the year. It was against an out-of-state team, and we got smoked. And speaking of smoke, our coach actually burnt, the little mini DV tapes?
Yes.
The old little camcorders.
Oh,
it looked
absolutely.
like a VHS, but it could like fit in the palm of your hand.
Mm-hmm. I think I have a bunch at home.
He took that, put it into a metal trash can. We walked outside. He put some gasoline in there, and we literally lit the tape on fire. And he said, "We will not be watching it. We're moving on." Now, that coach was a little over the top. We in college one game, we didn't burn it, but we metaphorically buried it. And coach brought a shovel into the team room and was like, "We're burying the tape. Like, we're not going to," because by this point he knows we'd already watched it on Sunday. On Monday, we buried the tape. But it was like, flush it, move on. That wasn't us. We know we're better than that. Normally I'm like, no, actually, let's watch the tape. Let's learn. Let's make sure we keep them all together. I wonder if this isn't a burn the tape candidate game for NC State, where you just look at, like, I don't know if it helps. Like, this is the way I'm going to say it. I think it might do more harm than good. Because if you watch it, you're obviously going to learn from your mistakes. And if you watch it over and over again, you're obviously going to, okay, I should have thrown it to KC here. Or, okay, I should have picked up this blitzing linebacker on my pass protection. But also, every time you watch that, your player's confidence has to go down a little bit. Every time you watch that, your team's going like, geez, they really manhandled us, didn't they? Gosh, how did I throw that? What was I thinking? I know better than that.
You could spin zone it as a coach. I've done it before. You show a play like where you kind of like, for example, like the Grayson McCall, like the pick six or something that happened. You can kind of lead up to that. Like, hey, guys, like the mistakes and all that stuff that we made lead up to this point, we're still in control. Like, that's where we are. Like, that's the thing. Like, we clean up. Like, you know that you don't. You know how to make this completion.
Gotten that speech.
Like, you got that thing. Like, guys, like this is what you're capable of doing. We just got to be consistent, stay poised.
Listen, we made 10 plays that we never make.
Exactly.
And halfway through the second quarter, it was a one-score game.
Yeah, which is kind of true.
I've gotten that speech. It's 100% true, but it's those mental gymnastics.
Yeah, spin zone it.
I've also gotten the bye week highlight film. Head coach called me into his office, just hit play, and it was like 5 minutes of good plays. And he was like, "You're pretty good at this." And I was like, "Thank you." And then you also, in the back of your brain, are going, I know what happened between these plays, so it wasn't all good. Mm-hmm. Like, I know why we were backed up on our own end line there, and it wasn't because we had played awesome the play before. It was because I took a bad sack. But there has to be Dave Doran and the staff for NC State have to be very delicate with how they handled the Tennessee game, because you don't lose by 41 in prime time on national television very often. And guys like Grayson McCall, there's a lot of people on Twitter. There's a lot of callers that we've had call into this show with some pretty fierce opinions about Grayson McCall, and you don't want to tilt that in a bad direction. The running game. We haven't even talked a ton about the running game, and we'll have to. Dave Doran after the game on the struggles of the running game.
I'll have to watch the film to give you a detail. I mean, it looked like we were just getting knocked into the backfield a lot. I said this all week. Their defensive line was our biggest concern, particularly defensive tackles, and we think those guys are really good players, and we just did not block them up front the way that we have to run the football. And so, it was a combination of things, and it's impossible for me to tell you exactly what they were, but I watched the line of scrimmage all night, and it wasn't going our way. It was going their way.
You're going to watch the film, and you're going to see that. The offensive line, the line of scrimmage was moving in whatever direction Tennessee wanted it to, offensive and defensive. You're going to watch the film. It's going to confirm what you saw in real time, and something you got to fix. But also, and this goes back to the caller from earlier, give Tennessee credit. They're probably the best defensive front that NC State's going to see this year. So, part of it can be you improving. Part of it can be the team you're going to face won't be quite as talented. That's number 2. Let's round out the starting 5 with number 1. The 1! Speaking of steamrolled, Panthers got steamrolled by the New Orleans Saints.
Bruh.
Speaking of steamrolled, I don't know if I've seen a team in a long time just from the opening kickoff have things go that sour that quickly. Like we talked about, even with State. State lost by 41 on national television to a team that they had high expectations playing against. But through the second, like halfway through the second quarter, it was 10-3. The Panthers' first defensive possession, massive touchdown pass from Derek Carr to Rashid Shaheed. Miscommunication on the back end. First offensive possession, immediately a turnover. And there really wasn't a ton of upticks from that point forward. That is from the open, like from the coin toss, which, by the way, I think they won and deferred. So it's even I guess the coin toss was the thing that went well. That is a really tough spot to be. Dave Canales summed up the loss after the game. Here's the head coach.
Well, certainly not the outcome that I was hoping for. If I could, before I even got to watch the film, if I could just talk about 3 turnovers in the teens and explosives that we gave up on the defensive side, a block punt. Those are critical factors. It flips the field. It gives them more possessions. And even when we had our chances, we didn't get our first completion for a while there. So just all around, poor execution in all phases, and particularly when you turn the ball over and you give that offense chances. And what we found out is this is a pretty good offense. And we learned a lot about ourselves today.
There is Dave Canales. We're going to talk about this later in the week. There is a time for relentless optimism. I also think there is a time for anger. It is completely acceptable for everyone in the Panthers facility to be angry for a little bit of time after that game. Right after that game, I don't know if I wanted the measured take. I think I wanted fury. Right? I think I wanted... The turnovers are unacceptable. The way our defense played against an offense who they did what they did, but we thought there were things we could do successfully and they didn't happen. We made bad decisions. We had bad communication, and it's unacceptable. And it's cliche, and everyone says it, but Dave Canales needs to say it starts with me. I'm angry. I'm furious. It won't happen again. You don't have to go full like Tim Tebow after whatever that Ole Miss loss where he had the mud and blood on his jersey and his face, and he was like, no one will ever work harder than I will work, and this team will never work harder than I will. Like, you don't need to go full that, but a little bit of emotion after a game like that, show me that it hurts. Fans invest in this team, and they're asking, why do I invest in this team after that game? Show that it hurts. Dave Canales, that was your first game as a head coach. It should sting a little. Get angry. Derek Carr was talking trash to the Carolina Panthers. If Patrick Mahomes wants to talk trash, all right. Derek Carr was talking trash to the Carolina Panthers. Stand up for yourself or get mad, do something. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly for Gordon Miller and Miller Lending as we transition here. Gordon's been doing no closing cost loans since 1987. And I think some of you may be thinking, oh, it's a no closing cost loan. You just take the cost and you roll it into your monthly payment. That's not how this works, all right? You need to reach out to Miller Lending and have them explain to you that zero means zero at Miller Lending. No third-party fees, no closing costs. None. They don't move it around, right? It's not the same house with different paint on the walls. It's a completely different deal. Gordon's been doing them since 1987, and because of that, he's mastered it in a way that not many in the industry could possibly imagine. Just because rates are up right now doesn't mean you should be paying those $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in closing costs to buy down that rate. When you close on a mortgage with Miller Lending, that's just your next payment. And then you can be prepared to lower that rate if and when rates drop with no cost. Again, that's the beauty. Zero means zero. So stop paying to buy down rates that we won't keep for more than a few years anyway, handful of years anyway, and instead call Miller Lending, 919-447-3377, 919-447-3377, or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We need some numbers game contestants. I almost forgot. We have a pair of tickets to see Jason Isbell and the 400 unit at DPAC on Saturday, September 21st. In addition to those awesome tickets, we also have bragging rights going to whoever wins the numbers game. We need 2 contestants. Call in now, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 to play the numbers game coming up next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
I think the Detroit Lions make it to the Super Bowl. The Lions are completely stacked. They're better than they were last year. They were in the NFC Championship game last year, could have punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. I think this year they do it. I don't know if they win it or not. That's TBD, but I do think the Detroit Lions will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's Trick Out Your Wheels with Sound Station and Security. Our contestants are ruling the streets. Here come the bikes, and the bass is bumping. Sound Station and Security can hook up all your vehicles with amazing custom stereo systems and speakers. Does that golf cart have strobe lights? It sure does. Sound Station has tons of LED lighting options for your bike, ATV, and even golf cart, and we install it all.
If it's got wheels, Sound Station and Security has got you covered. In Raleigh, Smithfield, and myhotsound.com.
Donald Trump's back, and he's out for control.
I would have every right to go after them.
Complete control.
I will wield that power very aggressively.
And he has a plan to get it.
Detailed plans for exactly what our movement will do.
It's called Project 2025, a 922-page blueprint to make Donald Trump the most powerful president ever. Overhauling the Department of Justice, giving Trump the unchecked power to seek vengeance, eliminating the Department of Education, and defunding K-12 schools, requiring the government to monitor women's pregnancies, and Trump has also proposed severe cuts to Medicare and Social Security. Those are Donald Trump's plans.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that. And sometimes revenge can be justified.
He'll take control, we'll pay the price.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. Paid for by Harris for President.
Hey friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. What a great NFL weekend that was. And you have another chance to start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet on tonight's game. Think about this single game parlay for Monday Night Football. A Breece Hall anytime touchdown. Aaron Rodgers over 250 passing yards, and Christian McCaffrey over 75 rushing yards. Just suggestions, everyone. Just visit FanDuel.com/Paul, P-A-U-L, and make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's truck season at Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. Get yourself a brand new 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500 with a combined discount of up to 15% off. Or just 5.9% interest for 84 months with a 9% combined discount when you trade in a 2013 or newer vehicle. See dealer for discounts and details. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford. Visit in person today or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game here on The Drive. Our contestants for today are Micah in Morrisville and Graham in Raleigh. On the line, meaning the prize, we have a pair of tickets to see Jason Isbell in the 400 unit at DPAC on Saturday, September 21st. Now, I have to ask, is Micah in Morrisville. It is the Micah from our Numbers Game Live. Micah, if you are watching our Numbers Game Live on YouTube Live, Micah was one of the stars of the show because he was just not catching the breaks, despite the fact that he was one of, I think, the better NHL contestants that we had. With that being said, Graham in Raleigh is also competing, so we have to see who goes first. Micah in Morrisville, we'll start with you. This past weekend was a sports-filled weekend. What was your sports highlight of the weekend that just ended?
I feel like every single team I support lost, but I would say Gavin Van went to my high school, and so just watching him play every week and just leading NC State's pretty cool. I feel like he always seems to make a huge play, regardless how State does. So just seeing him rep our Cary High School is pretty cool.
He obviously forced the pressure that led to the pick six in the NC State Tennessee game. When he was on the sideline celebrating, it felt like all the frustration from the game was coming out, and I was going like, he needs space. Everybody just stay away. This isn't a chest bump high five situation. Just let him handle it. All right, Micah, that's a solid answer. We'll go to Graham and Raleigh. Graham, what is your sports highlight of this past weekend?
Notre Dame losing, hands down.
That is equal. Is that a Riley Leonard or just a Notre Dame take?
No, those cowards need to join a conference.
All right, Dennis, this one's going to be tough. Who are you choosing?
I mean, Graham going spicy here. I got to go with Graham on this one.
All right, Graham, you get to go first. Micah, hang on the line. You know how it works. You'll get your chance. Graham, you ready to pick a category?
Yes.
All right, the categories are NFL players born in New York, NFL Keystone State kids, those are players born in Pennsylvania, NBA current players only, or NHL Canes and Whalers only?
NBA current players only.
All right. The way this works, I'll give you the team and the players. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Joel Embiid, Philadelphia 76ers.
31.
Incorrect. Scoot Henderson, Portland Trailblazers.
55.
Incorrect. Joel Embiid, Philadelphia 76ers.
24.
Correct. Evan Mobley, Cleveland Cavaliers.
36.
Incorrect. Scoot Henderson, Portland Trailblazers.
21.
Incorrect. Evan Mobley, Cleveland Cavaliers.
55.
Incorrect. Scoot Henderson, Portland Trailblazers.
Pass.
Trey Murphy III, New Orleans Pelicans. You used your pass a little late. I was trying to get you one more in there. Joel Embiid would have accepted 21 or 24. He's worn both. You came up with 24. Scoot with the Trailblazers, 00. That one's always tough to get. Evan Mobley wears number 4 with the Cavs. And for those of you that heard me say it as quickly as I could at the end, and you're playing at home, Trey Murphy III with the New Orleans Pelicans wears number 25. So you did get one. We'll see if it holds up, Graham, and sit on the line. We'll bring Mike up next. Mike, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. If I remember your genre, I have an idea, but I'll give you the categories anyway. NFL players born in New York, NFL players born in Pennsylvania, or NHL Canes and Whalers only.
I'll do NHL.
I had a feeling. NHL Canes and Whalers only. I'll give you the team and the player. I will give you the team, even though in this category we know what it is, just to keep it even with the other categories. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You need 2 for the win. Any last-second questions?
No, I'm good.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jack Drury, Carolina Hurricanes.
18.
Correct. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Carolina Hurricanes.
82.
Bates Battaglia, Carolina Hurricanes.
13.
Correct. Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Carolina Hurricanes.
57.
Correct. Chris Versteeg, Carolina Hurricanes.
32.
Correct. What time are we looking at?
17 seconds.
17 seconds. Not quite an all-time record, but pretty darn good. Micah, you're a beast at this. You know it. You showed up. You rolled through them. Congratulations.
I'll get it back next year in the 5 for 5. I got to redeem myself.
Hey, well, I mean, 5 for 5. You just got it right there. There's the invite.
All right.
We appreciate you for playing. We appreciate you for calling in, and you get to enjoy some Jason Isbell tickets. So obviously, again, you know the deal. Stay on the line, and Dennis will get the info, and then you'll get the tickets. All right.
All right. Thanks.
Once again, he won a pair of tickets to see Jason Isbell and the 400 unit at DPAC on Saturday, September 21st. By the way, there was nothing funny going on there. The only reason why I know so much about Micah is because we throw the big numbers game live event for everybody that has gone 5 for 5, and he was at our last edition. And the reason why he was so memorable is he is one category specific. He knows NHL. And if Graham, the other contestant, knew that, he might have tried to block Micah by picking NHL because Micah was not great in the other categories at our live event, and he finished one round short. He got eliminated one round before we opened up all of the NHL categories in our YouTube Live. So he had some bad luck at YouTube Live, but obviously he knows his NHL, which is why he rolled through those answers about as quickly as he possibly could. So he's a winner, and 5 for 5. There you go. It's our first 5 for 5 in a while, though.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we had a 5.
We had one.
We had right after the numbers game live.
It was right before, actually. It was after we sent out the invitations, like 2 days before, 3 days before. We had one.
I think we've had one after as well. It's been relatively close.
Relatively, yeah. All right. So I like that it's hard. I like that we don't celebrate too often. It has to be earned.
That's not supposed to be easy.
That's what I mean.
Our last perfect score actually was August 30th.
August? Oh, so we actually had one more recent. Never mind.
August 30th.
By the way, what am I talking about?
Micah was closest to our fastest time ever, which is 15 seconds. Yep. Micah just had 17.
I know. I know that 15 is the number to chase. But the hard part is it's always going to be hard in NHL to get 15 because it takes me time. Just there's more syllables and names.
There's names are a little bit more difficult.
Like I have to get to 15. Like I also have to be on my game, which is maybe not fair. But I promise I do the absolute best I can for every single contestant.
It's like Bryce Young or
Bryce
Trevor Van
Carolina
Riemsdyk.
Panthers. Yeah, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Carolina Hurricanes. There's just more. There's a lot of
words in there.
Yeah, a lot of syllables. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Here's Dennis Cox.
Hope everyone had a fun and safe weekend, enjoying, obviously, the first full weekend of football. By the way, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. I enjoyed the weekend, got outside. The weather was fantastic. I know a lot of people probably were outside maybe doing some yard work, laying out in a hammock, walking the dog. I jumped on the motorcycle, went out for a ride for a little while just because the weather just felt that great. Weather felt that nice. And I almost had an accident. Someone ran a red light, almost got clipped. Accidents, unfortunately, do happen. But thankfully, hit those brakes kind of quickly, and I avoided a disaster. But someone ran a red light, someone wasn't paying attention. That can happen to anyone, even when they're driving in a car. But if you are injured in a motorcycle accident, give 1-800-LAW-TIGERS a call before you call your insurance company. Insurance companies want to pay the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They understand what your bike is worth. They understand what your gear is worth. They understand what you're going through after an accident. Insurance companies don't fully understand that. Law Tigers, they're part of that motorcycle riding community. They understand everything that you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation with them is always free, and they do not get paid until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
We are going to round out Monday's sound off with some more calls if you want them. This is your last chance. Tomorrow we're going back to normal shows. Sounding off only happens on Monday. So if you have a take on the Panthers, state, really anything, whatever you want to talk about, and within reason, let's reel that back in a little bit. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open now, 919-860-5326. Stick around.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $200 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply.
Uline is here for the hard workers. for the ones rolling up their sleeves, working round the clock, and getting the job done. You're dedicated to doing what it takes to keep a business growing. Uline is dedicated to helping you make that happen. Working 7 days a week, staying fully stocked and ready to ship any of our 41,000 items the same day. Uline, your shipping and industrial supply specialists. Visit uline.com.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for that special someone or even yourself? Look no further. Fox & Bailey is your destination for fine watches, men's jewelry, and distinct gifts. Now an authorized retailer of Omega watches. Come see these incredible timepieces and enjoy a bourbon while shopping the largest selection of watches in the Triangle. Visit the Fox & Bailey Watch Shop today at Bailey's Fine Jewelry's Village District location. Voted the best place to buy a watch.
Has Mother Nature taken a toll on your home? Whether it's storm damage, wear and tear, or just the passage of time, Baker Home Exteriors is Raleigh's trusted expert for all your home repair needs. From roofs, gutters, and siding, to doors, windows, and decks, we have the experience to restore your home. But we don't just fix problems, we improve your home's resilience and aesthetics, giving you peace of mind and pride in your property. Visit BakerRoofing.com to schedule your repair service today.
It's bow time. It's not just football season, it's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great, it's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you can watch the most live NFL games all in one place. Which means you can watch the Rams, and the Colts, and the Vikings, and the Bengals, and the Buccaneers, and the Chargers. Or whoever you're rooting for, all in your living room. But not literally, of course. That would be dangerous. Watch every game every Sunday with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. Sign up at youtube.com/NFLST. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I need a printer for the office.
Staples has the best brands, like HP.
Well, I have some demands.
Oh.
Burton Sales demands it be fast.
HP's Office Jet Pro is super fast.
Megan Marketing demands color prints.
Check.
And Kurt the Controller demands I don't overpay.
With Staples Hot Deals, you get up to 40% off select HP printers.
Oh, great. My job can be...
demanding?
I was gonna say a lot of fun.
Right now at Staples, save up to 40% on select HP printers, America's most trusted printer brand. Ends 9/28.
Train heating and cooling systems are engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer and learn more. It's hard to stop a train.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Last chance to get your reactions to the weekend on air. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Something you want to sound off on. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Talking listeners if you want to sound off. I did some math during that that commercial break.
Okay, at least you didn't do it on air.
No, this is one I used a calculator on my phone.
Look at you.
If you are an NC State fan that also is like, out of the group of 5, I really like App. Right, I think that's fair to have like different divisions, kind of favorite teams.
There are people that grew up in this area that may have been growing up an NC State fan but went to school at App. Makes perfect sense.
And in the NFL, you root for the Panthers because that's your hometown team.
Your home state, yeah.
You watched your 3 teams lose by 124 over the weekend.
Bruh.
41 plus
gosh.
37 plus 46.
That gross, huh?
People were getting mad at Bryce Young for smiling after he threw the interception. Just now, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because what else are you going to do? You're going to laugh or you're going to cry. You only got 2 options sometimes.
Smile through the pain, right?
I guess. This weekend is obviously, it's like right now might be the number 1 overreaction time on any sports calendar.
Oh, easily.
Because like other sports, hockey, basketball, baseball, you don't have everyone go give their first impressions and then shut it down for 4 days, right? In football, everybody rushes to give you your first impression, and then nobody play till Thursday, right? Let's all chill for a minute, which just lets our imaginations run wild. There are things that happened this weekend, and in college, like 2 weeks is practically 1 week, right? Everybody's playing one pushover. So it's pretty much through week 1. So I'm putting them in the same category. There are a lot of things that seem true right now that are just going to be outlandish outliers. The funny, I saw somebody say, because one of the years Aaron Rodgers won MVP, they got absolutely smoked by the Jameis Winston-led New Orleans Saints week 1. And so they went right to like, Bryce is just following the MVP plan. And it's like, well, no, but also.
If only.
Yeah, I mean, if he was Aaron Rodgers 5 years ago, I would be much more confident than I am right now. But part of it is like those things are going to happen. Those things, there's name someone that had a really bad day or we'll use the Saints for an example. The Saints seemed like they had everything going right against the Panthers. Rashid Shaheed, deep ball, the tight ends, whole bunch of catches. Alvin Kamara, I had people in text groups with me going like, Alvin Kamara is looking like the young Alvin Kamara again. And I had to write back like, we'll take everything that happens against Carolina with a grain of salt. But guess who didn't have a good game? Chris Olave. Chris Olave didn't really do much, right? Had 1 catch, called back on a penalty, a couple other low targets. There's a world where at the end of the year, he has 1,300 yards. I'm not predicting it right now because what I saw was an offense that was humming on all cylinders and against a defense that they should be able to power through. And he wasn't first option. He wasn't the guy they were taking care of. So maybe that all changes. But my point is, it's early. And we try not to overreact. Right? You try not to be the people that are overreacting because you've seen it just time and time and time again smack you in the face. We've seen the Chiefs get beat opening night and then go on to be the Chiefs the rest of the year. But I also say this. If a team gives you a reason to judge them, you aren't being unfairly judgmental. You're judging, but that's how life works. Right? I was using this example with Dennis earlier. If you hang out with someone like 2-3 times and you give them the old college try, you try to relate to them, you try to get their jokes, and after 3 days or 3 times hanging out, you're like, you know what? I don't like this person. I think they're a jerk. Somebody else can't walk by and be like, oh, you're being so judgy. Oh, you're being so judgmental. It's like, no, they gave me substantial reasons to think they're this way. I formed an opinion based on fact. If I watch a team and they stink, I don't always hold myself back from saying that team stinks. If they show flashes of something, right? If the Panthers had 5 or 6 big plays on offense and they just couldn't string together drives, I might go, let's see, hold on. But no, my judgments have come in off of the first 2 weeks in college and the first week in the NFL. They're not all overreactions. Some of them will be. Some of them will prove true. NC State, their running game, I don't think it's an overreaction now to be extremely worried about the offensive line opening up holes. The Panthers, I don't think it's a overreaction to be worried about Bryce Young. We've seen it enough. So withhold the overreactions, but also let yourself live in them a little bit. I get very frustrated when I say something like if tomorrow I bump into somebody, maybe one of you, at the grocery store, and I somehow we get chatting and I say a football opinion, and you're like, oh, well, it's just 1 week. Well, we only have 1 week.
That's all we have to go off of.
I would love to have a month of information to make my opinions off of, but we only have a week right now. Some of them will be bad. Some of them will be good. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'll give you something that's all good. Window Nation. Do you know how I know it's Window Nation? That's all good. They have over 20,000 five-star reviews on Google. I'm Tim Donnelly here for Window Nation. Window Nation is all about value. They value your satisfaction in their quality. They're a great product. They're great customer service. Their affordability. Right now, it's even more affordable. Buy 2 windows and you'll get 2 windows free. No limit to how much you could save. If you're like me, you think you can do everything yourself, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, what do we need a new window? Yeah, I'll go buy them. I'll get the prefab. I'll throw it in there, right? DIY. Have a conversation with somebody from Window Nation. I talked with Justin, and you realize the science behind some of these probably above your installation grade, right? Probably above, me watching YouTube videos and trying to figure it out. Luckily, though, they have wildly experienced installation teams with a 50-point inspection at the factory, a 20-point inspection on everything that's installed, 96% customer satisfaction rating. I get it. You might want to try it your own, but the experts are the experts for a reason. Schedule a fast, no-obligation, in-home estimate now with pros at Window Nation. The number to call, 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION. You can also go online to visit at windownation.com, windownation.com. It's where you schedule your free, no-obligation consultation. You will not regret it. Few things. Coming up next right here on 99.9 The Fan, we have Panther Talk. You'll hear from Dave Canales. You'll hear from Anish Shroff, the play-by-play voice. There's a lot to pack into a little bit of time on Panther Talk, so you don't want to miss any of it. That's coming up right here in about 5-6 minutes. Also, the game tonight, we're talking Jets at Niners. You can hear it right here on 99.9 The Fan. So just keep it dialed right here. And lastly, I do this every once in a while. I call it a personal favor request. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. If there is a conversation you want to throw your opinion into that involves a local team, I promise you the YouTube comments for our YouTube channel is a place for you to do just that. Whether you want to ask a question, whether you want to make an argument, there's a lively community in our YouTube, and it's growing by the day.
Oh, yeah.
And we want you to be a part of it. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe while you're there, and then jump on in. It may seem contentious, but they're all friendly. We're all there just to love sports like the rest of us do. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back tomorrow at 3. Until then, like I said, enjoy Panther Talk, enjoy the game. And we've got a long way to go this football season. Looking forward to it. We'll pick it up tomorrow at 3. Have a great night.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're dishing up a clash of conferences.